Well, the PlayStation State of Play in May is almost here and right at the buzzer. While a lot of us were expecting a showcase, it is looking like this is going to line up with my prediction that a PS5 Pro will be announced later this year, likely in September. And instead of that being its own State of Play, it is likely now going to be the annual showcase. So this means my PS5 Pro prediction, if it is in fact correct, the big PlayStation showcase is where they'll announce it, but that will be, I think, in September, leaving us with the State of Play in May to sort of softly kick off Summer Game Fest. Now, it also means that this could be tied to Summer Game Fest. Some of the things I'm going to talk about in this video, I think it's time. I think it's time for some of these things to be announced. I think it's time for some of these things to show up. They might get kicked to Summer Game Fest. They might be a part of the thing with Jeff Keighley. This follows a bit of a pattern, right? They like to do things in late May, and then they do give some announcements to Summer Game Fest with Jeff Keighley. So rather than do an upload like I've been doing, it just made more sense to do a quick show, sort of opening monologue with my expectations and predictions, since by the end of today, everybody's going to be focused on the event and the announcements. They're not going to be really worried about predictions and videos and stuff like that. We put a lot of work into those videos, and I was like, well, that video is going to have a shelf life of like 12 hours. So I thought it would make more sense to do it in the live environment with you guys. So if you're watching this later, I am going to co-stream the PlayStation State of Play, so make sure you're subscribed, make sure you're here, 6 p.m. Eastern. We'll be live a little bit before that. So for now, though, kick back. Let's set our expectations to State of Play instead of showcase, and let's walk through what could be there. And also, the announcement said that there'll be 14 games at this State of Play. Now, my predictions and my expectations, I'm going to mention 20 games. I'm not trying to, hit a swish here. I don't think everything I'm going to mention is actually going to be there. 6 of my predictions are obviously automatically not going to make it. I've already seen some leaks of things that might be there. Some of it makes sense, some of it doesn't, so we're not sure if those leaks are reliable. I just think it's fun to guess, see how accurate we can be. I'll talk about it with you guys in the live environment here in a little bit. We're going back to sort of a traditional format. You're going to have to listen to my monologue before I can talk to you. So while you're listening to this monologue, make sure you're smashing that like button. Get us to our first 100 likes. We greatly appreciate the strong turnout lately, and I can't wait to watch the showcase with you tonight. Now, I also have a few PSVR2 game predictions that is going to be included in the showcase. And then I do have one big Showstopper prediction that I think they're going to do at the end. Some of that's wishful thinking, so you'll have to wait and see what I'm going to guess. Now, before I do that, though, very quickly, I want to give my opinion on why they didn't do a showcase like last year, okay? I think that's heavily related to the PlayStation 5 Pro. I have said numerous times that they don't want to announce the PS5 Pro until absolutely necessary. And the summer is a great time to increase demand for your hardware, right? You get everybody excited about your games, and then they're going to go buy the PlayStation 5. Announcing a PlayStation 5 Pro this far before it actually launches, because all signs point to it landing probably October, November, it would really hurt standard PlayStation 5 sales. Like, we just heard that this is the most profitable PlayStation generation ever last night. They're crushing it, and you don't slow any of that down. You don't put your cards on the table until it's time to play them. So PlayStation thought it made more sense to have sort of their showcase be the stage for that PlayStation 5 Pro announcements instead of its own State of Play. All right, and I think the public needs to set their expectations accordingly. This is a State of Play. It's only 30 minutes. Let me read you the official announcement. They said, State of Play is back. Tune in live for updates on PS5 and PSVR2 titles, plus a look at PlayStation Studios games arriving later this year. The 30-minute show features 14 titles, and it begins on May 30th at 6 p.m. Eastern. So the first thing to point out before I start kind of listing the games is it does say PlayStation Studios games arriving later this year. That's games plural. And so far, the only first-party PlayStation Studio game that we know confirmed for this year is Concord. So that's going to be my first prediction. Let's get into this, right? I do think we finally see Concord. It's time to see gameplay. Keep in mind, all of these predictions and expectations could end up happening during Summer Game Fest instead. I just think it's time. I don't know why you would wait any longer before letting us see Concord, okay? It's apparently it's going to be like a PvE extraction game is what it kind of seems like. It's going to be live service. It's landing on PlayStation 5 and PC. According to Herman Hulst last night, that strategy will continue. If it's a live service game, it's going to be day and date on PC, but there are other games they're going to continue to wait, hoping to coax people to come over to PlayStation 5 after playing something like Ghost of Tsushima just hit on PC, and then when that sequel hits on PS5, they're hoping there'll be people that would want to switch. Now, we don't know much about Concord. We know it's coming this year. I think it's time to show gameplay. I think it's time to give us a hard release date, all right? Now, the second first-party game that will likely be at the State of Play is the rumored Astro game. It's a new game. It's coming this year, a brand new Astro bot game. Now, the same source that told us we'd be getting a PlayStation event in May, that same individual said, hey, we're gonna be hearing about an Astro game, and it is coming this year, okay? That would then mean that's just 2 first-party studio games. I don't know if you would say plural, hey, we're going to let you know about PlayStation Studios games coming later this year if it's just those 2. If it's just Concord and Astrobot, okay? I think there could be a third, or maybe even 4. I don't know. Maybe one of the PSVR games is going to be a first-party studio game, okay? If there is a third first-party studio game, I'm going to give 2 maybes, okay? I don't have a guess outside of these 2 maybes, okay? This is one of the big maybes. Lego Horizon is rumored to be at the event. Now, this could be a smaller game. Maybe it had quicker turnaround time. I don't really know if the dev time for a Lego game is shorter than a traditional game, like a big, giant Horizon game we know is probably a 4 to 5 year turnaround time at the very least. This Lego game we kind of just heard about. Maybe they kept it under wraps. Maybe it was one of the numerous Horizon games that we've heard rumors about. That could be at the event as well. And another first party that could maybe make an appearance and maybe release this year would be Fair Games, okay? Now, this one, like Concord, made its first appearance at the showcase last year, and it's a live service heist game. It's going to be squad-based from what we can understand from the description, and it will be headed to PlayStation 5 and PC at launch. That is indicating that it is a live service game. Now, I'm doubtful about Fair Games releasing this year simply because my gut instinct says they're going to want to spread out their live service games. You don't want to step on Concord's toes. You had Helldivers 2, and then you have Concord. You don't want to put those things too close together. So Fair Games will likely be at the State of Play. I'm just iffy on it releasing this year, okay? So everything else that I'm about to kind of go through is a likely appearance, but I don't think it's going to release this year, okay? I will say my next prediction is one that likely will release this year, but it's DLC. It's not a game, okay? Spider-Man 2 DLC seems like the perfect fit for an event like this, and I actually think it could launch in the summer as like a surprise release. Now, this obviously means it could end up at Summer Game Fest. It would be more fitting for an announcement there. It could be later this year. Maybe they want to push the PS5 Pro Enhanced label for Spider-Man 2. That's a great way to do it. Regardless of when the DLC lands, I think it is one of the more probable appearances at this event or at Summer Game Fest. Now, some may push back and basically say, well, the announcement says 14 games and DLC will not be included in that. I think that's fair pushback. It could mean that any of the DLC announcements that they probably have planned, maybe they kick those over to Keighley and he includes it in the Summer Game Fest event. They did that with the Spider-Man 2 release date last year. Now, the next thing that I feel is practically guaranteed to make an appearance. This is one more thing that I feel very strongly will be there, is Silent Hill 2. They have an event after the State of Play, and when they announced it a few days ago, I said, I think that's a clue that there will be a State of Play on the 30th, an hour before their event. That's it, like quite literally what has happened. So I think Silent Hill 2 will be involved, and they'll say, hey, be sure to tune in after this State of Play for a deep dive or whatever they're calling their event. The next prediction is tough to make because of how PlayStation has handled their PC port announcements, but there are rumors from reliable sources that have indicated that God of War Ragnarok PC port is very close to being announced, okay? It's hard to ignore the timing of that rumor. God of War Ragnarok's a pretty big title, but Horizon Forbidden West is also a big title, and its PC port was not announced at an event. Returnal might be the only game to get a PC port announcement at an event. That was during the pre-show of the Game Awards, not a Sony event. Now, I may be incorrect about this. This was really hard to research, but I couldn't find any evidence of PlayStation or Sony using main stage events, their own main stage events, to announce PC ports. PlayStation's been very weird about their PC ports. Herman Hulst just indicated in this report that they did where he sat down, I believe it was like an earnings report or something. I don't know the official title for it, but he was like sitting there with a microphone and breaking down everything that PlayStation has done, and it was basically like nothing but great news for that sector. Like stocks going up, everybody was very, happy to hear that PlayStation's doing very well. But in that thing, he talked about how their goal with games like their tentpole titles, their narrative-driven titles, is to come to PC later. That might be why they don't want to announce them at showcases or state of plays, because they want the focus to be on PlayStation. They want the focus to be on PlayStation games that are coming this year or coming in the near future. But I am hearing whispers that the God of War Ragnarok PC announcement will be at this event, okay? Now, I'm going to rattle off 7 games rather quickly. I don't have much to say about them. These are from the PlayStation blog that said, here's a bunch of games coming this year. So these are all likely appearances: Until Dawn, Zenless Zone Zero, Final Fantasy XIV Dawn Trail DLC. Okay, that's a DLC, so that might not be there because, as we've already said, this is about games, not DLC. So that could be at Summer Game Fest. Casting of Frank Stone, Metal Gear, Plucky Squire, and Forever Skies. Those are all potential appearances since PlayStation promoted them on their own blog, and they are games coming this year. Now, could also see a Destiny 2 appearance for the Final Shape DLC, but you've got Spider-Man DLC potential, Final Fantasy XIV DLC, and Destiny 2. DLC might not fit with a 14-game blitz. It's only about a 30-minute show, so 14 games, that's like a game every other minute, okay? So they might not want to put any DLC in there, maybe a brief commercial for Destiny, because, that is a Bungie company. And we did see from the Herman Hulst thing that they're anticipating a lot of money coming from the DLC in Destiny that's just around the corner. Now, before I list the 3 potential PSVR2 games, and then I'm going to give you my Showstopper prediction, I do have one last game that I'm really hoping is there. It's a little bit of wishful thinking. I do want to mention Phantom Blade Zero. This game's likely not coming this year, but I think it's probably releasing next year, maybe. It may be time to have another appearance, but I'm not putting a lot of stock behind this one. They might want to save this for when they can show more. We've already seen quite a bit. So that is another one I did want to make mention of. We might see it. So I'm going to throw out 3 PSVR2 games that might be there. I'm really interested in how PlayStation is going to handle the PSVR 2 going forward. They just made a move. They're going to make it compatible with PC. I think that's going to be great because I think it's a great VR headset. I've used a Pico 4. I've used the MetaQuest 3 and the PSVR 2. And the VR 2, I actually think, is the one that I would prefer. I think it's more comfortable. I think it does a better job of actually blocking out light. I actually think it also has higher quality. I think it looks better because it's not a standalone. So I would love to see this thing being able to be plugged into PCs and utilized as a great VR headset. So the first game that I think will be there for their VR games, because they did say there's going to be some VR games, is Alien Rogue Incursion. This game is currently set up for a holiday release. It's going to be hitting PC VR, a PSVR 2, and the MetaQuest 3. I currently don't know, though, if this will make an appearance. I'm thinking that it will, but it doesn't have a trailer on the YouTube channel, so this could be a toss-up, right? They don't really have much marketing for this yet, so maybe they will be there. This is the beginning of a marketing deal with PlayStation. A lot of the times these VR games, they have a trailer on the PlayStation YouTube channel signaling that there's some kind of a marketing agreement there. I'm not seeing that yet. Maybe that starts today. The next VR game that I think has another strong chance of appearing is Metro Awakening. It's currently slated for 2024. It'll hit VR2, MetaQuest, and the PC VR. It has a trailer on the PlayStation channel, and it made its appearance this year at the PlayStation State of Play. That might be a reason why it won't be there. They're like, well, we just showed you at the last one. So maybe it gets skipped over. Maybe they have planned marketing pushes for this Metro game during Summer Game Fest, because, again, it is slated for this year. So I have a little less confidence in the Metro game since it was just at the last State of Play, but who knows? Maybe it's time for, a second trailer, a second marketing push. The third VR game that I think has a chance of being there is called Behemoth. Its trailer is on the PlayStation YouTube channel, and that trailer is now a year old. So I think there's probably a greater chance of Behemoth being there over Metro, just because of the time. It's been a while. It's time to show up again. It's slated for the PSVR 2, MetaQuest, and PC VR, and it's slated for late 2024. So This ended up being longer than we thought. I thought I could get through this in 5 minutes. I don't know why I thought that. I don't do anything that quickly in this environment. So this has been a longer show open than I thought we would. But there's so many games. There's so many games. I'm trying to go fast. I want to talk to the live audience soon. Let me finish, though. I'm thinking for the Showstopper. This is a mix of wishful thinking, okay? Because I really want this thing to finally show up, but they might hold this for their showcase because I think this is going to be a big one, all right? I've thrown this out here, and people are telling me Sony doesn't work like that. I still think there's a chance something like this happens, okay? It's hard to claim that there's any pattern with how PlayStation does anything because they skipped the showcase, then they did a showcase in May. Now it's looking like the showcase will probably be in September. So my Showstopper is Ghost of Tsushima 2. Just a teaser. Just a very short cinematic teaser to let everybody know, hey, this game's coming, okay? Everybody gets really excited. And I could see them even say, we can't wait to share more at our showcase later this year. I don't think they give us like a date for the showcase. But I could see them plant that seed. Because I do think everyone's going to be asking the question, why aren't you doing a showcase? It's Summer Game Fest. It's the big season. Xbox is doing a showcase. There's all these things happening. And you guys did a showcase last year. Why aren't you doing a showcase? I think answering that question might be a good idea. Just saying, hey, we hope you enjoyed that. We're really excited for Sucker Punch to show you more and to give you more info at our PlayStation showcase later this year. I think that's a good idea. I think that fits. I honestly do. I think that fits because I think a lot of people are going to be asking, like, what's going on? Because I think this for a few reasons. First, it's a big party teaser. I think it's time to get that out into the wild. Second, Ghost of Tsushima is likely next in line. Okay, I think it's the next big game from them to finally get its sequel. And third, again, I think they want to assure folks that there is a showcase coming. I think that's important to be like, hey, we're not doing a showcase this year, in May as sort of part of Summer Game Fest. We're doing one later, like rest assured one is coming. They don't need to say it that way. I think just one sentence is, as I said, we can't wait to share more with you at our showcase later this year. Now, I think it'd be a little bit out of step with the fact that PlayStation likes to keep things close to their chest, but we're talking about a teaser here, kind of like the Wolverine teaser, just something to confirm that it exists, very short, you don't really show anything, okay? I think planting that seed could be great. Now, if I'm correct that the PS5 Pro is announced later this year at a September event, that showcase is probably going to be pretty jam-packed, so maybe they want to save it for that. So that's it. I made it. I got all the way through. Now you know my thoughts. Now it's time to hear your thoughts. And what a great turnout today. You guys are clearly excited. Almost 700 people here. Wow. I've not done an opening show monologue in a while. That was fun. That was actually really fun. I kind of miss doing that. I feel like I'm kind of getting back to my roots when I do an opening show monologue. Like, I got to do it. It's a live fire exercise. And we got through it. Guys, thanks so much for being here. I really, the support lately and the turnout and just what you guys have been doing for this channel and in my life and my family, it means a lot. It means a lot. Somebody's saying the list got leaked already. I looked at the list. I'm not finding that list to be all that compelling, okay? I'm just not. I think some of the things on that list are easy guesses, like Astrobot. I didn't see Concord. I don't know why you wouldn't have Concord. Like, where is Concord at this point would be my question. Right? Where's Concord? If you're not going to show Concord, then when are you going to show it? Are you going to let Keighley show it? Are you going to save Concord for the showcase in September? Yo, Joker Quinn, Han shot first, and so did you. First gifted member of the day. You guys absolutely crushed it yesterday. You were going to need like 125 members a day to hit the goal. We're trying to hit 500 members on the week, and then Creature and I have to play Foam Stars tomorrow night, Friday night. You guys only need like 80 today and tomorrow. You guys totally hit a home run yesterday. So very, very doable today. Let's just hit 100 members and put a cherry on top. Yo, Warawana with 9 months says, I predict that no matter what is shown, there will still be massive hate campaign on social media. Well, who cares? Let them. Like, some of these people and personalities, they're becoming a constant that gets muted. I do. I think that when you're always negative, when you're always spinning things, when you're always dealing in false narratives, I think eventually people just mentally mute you. They're like, who cares? You just become a constant. It's like, oh, wow, you're hating on it. Okay, yeah. Oh, I'm so surprised. Like, I would just rather deal in properly setting expectations. It's just a state of play. This is not going to be some knockdown, drag out, explosive showcase. I feel like my predictions are pretty meager. I don't think my predictions are crazy. I don't think they're nuts. I think they're like, yeah, these are some games and some things that it's time for them to show up, right? Legend with 24 months. That's 2 years. And a VIP. And John Lipkowski gifts a member, and he bumps the line to 2 members today. Thank you so much, John Lipkowski. Yeah, I mean, I'm seeing leaks that are like Astro bot, God of War Ragnarok PC port, the Alien Rogue game, but then they're throwing in things like Path of Exile 2 and Monster Hunter. I can't make predictions like that. Like, I would have just pulled that out of thin air. I mean, those could be there. They could. Those are good fit for PlayStation. No, but I can't talk in a 10 bomb. From Risick takes us to 12. And another gifted from Michael takes us to 13. Thank you so much. I skipped like a record. And a 10 bomb from MASH takes us to 23. They're like, this goal's no problem. They want to see Creature play Foam Stars. Thank you guys so much for the first 200 likes on the video. If you haven't hit like yet, make sure and give that a smash. We will be co-streaming the PlayStation State of Play tonight. I'll go live around 5:30 before that. I don't know if I'm going to hang out with members all the way up until then. That's a long time. I don't know if I'm going to do that. That's a long time to sit with members. I mean, maybe we just do it as like a waiting room. It'll be super chill. I might play video games to pass the time. That's a long time. That's like a 4-hour writer's room. But it might be a great benefit of being a member. It's a reason for you to click join. $5. You get to see behind the scenes. You get to be part of those waiting room streams. And another one comes in from PW H-Town. Agent of Chaos takes us to 28. Thank you so much for doing that. I appreciate you bumping the line. And another 5 comes in from Risick and takes us to 33. And another one comes in from Lord Horg. We got a frickin' member train going right now. Thank you so much. Please go eat your dinner. I mean, I can sit here and eat my dinner with y'all. I've done that before, you know. If we got a couple hundred members hanging out, that can be very, very helpful to a live stream. Like, as soon as I go live to go into the State of Play, I have a bunch of you to like throw at that stream. That's helped us in the past, and it gives us something to do. And a 5 bomb from I'm going to say Belfagor, and MASH with a 5 bomb coming in as well, and takes us to 44, just like that. Thank you guys so much. Good night. We are off to the races today. Do you think the new Batman VR game? I mean, hey, that's not a bad prediction, because that just got announced or leaked. Which one was it? I can't even tell anymore. What's an announcement? What's a leak? You know, we need to come up with lingo for Jeff Grubb. What's a Jeff Grubb? I tried to let him know this morning that I was like, it was all playful and all in good fun. I tweeted him the clip from yesterday. He hasn't replied. Perfect Image with the $2 super chat tips. Do you know anything about Mafia Project? No, I don't know anything about that. And then Therapy Quantified gifts a member, and thank you so much. Sets up. Ooh, that's an easy 5 bomb dunker. Who's going to take the glory? Another 5 bomb gets us to 50 just like that. Salty Gamer ensures that 5 bomb will be an Agent of Chaos. Thank you so much, keeping the member train alive, going fast today. Do not go there again. Called a Jeffy, they're called a Grubby. Oh, it's all in good fun. Everybody needs to relax, you know? Just accept that he's not going to have you. Let it go. I mean, I have enough man crushes. I don't need any more, okay? You know? Grub looks snuggly, but, you know, I am... I've got enough man crushes for my quota. I doubt they'll release God of War Ragnarok PC anytime soon. Oh, no, I think it's coming this holiday. Hellstorm. I think God of War Ragnarok on PC comes this holiday, like fourth quarter. I think that's when we get that. Yeah. I think that thing's ready to go. They basically said it was going to come faster. Pause. They basically said it was going to show up faster. They learned things bringing 2018 to PC, and they changed some of the pipeline of Ragnarok. And that, to me, was them ensuring that it would be able to come to PC easier. And a $5 super chat tip from Andy Ackerman. This one time at Bandcamp. Yeah. I didn't know you were a flute player, Andy. And a 5-bomb comes in from Rabbit. He's the agent of chaos. He blasts us past 50. Thank you so much, 51. And a 20-bomb comes in from Raijin. And he takes us to 71. We roll up to 75, being the next goal. And Raijin puts us on the doorstep with a big one. Thank you so much. Grub looks snuggly. He does. He looks snuggly. I bet you he's probably a very good snuggler. I bet. I don't know if he's on any of the dating sites, but if I was him, that'd be like the first thing I would put on there. That's the first thing I would put on there. I am an excellent snuggler. You're more of a Ben Starr kind of guy? I mean, if you don't have a crush on Ben Starr, I would just assume that there's something wrong with you. I mean, that's kind of a given. I mean, I don't know. I don't even want to start talking about it. I'll say too much. Yeah. And a single comes in from Stone Spire and takes us to 72. Thank you so much. What are we talking about? You should do sports commentary. And a single comes in from Rissick. Thank you so much, Rissick. I've done professional level shoutcasting before for Fortnite. And 74, Stone Spire's just going to inch it all the way there. You love to see it. Thank you so much. Joker Quinn takes the glory and takes us to 75 on the nose. I owe you guys 15 members now. Thank you so much. Next topic. What, are you uncomfortable? You know, are you uncomfortable admitting that Ben Starr is very attractive? I mean, that's a you problem, sir. And Stone Spire is the agent of chaos, and he takes us to 76. He rolls us up to the next goal of 100. Good night. You guys are off to a strong start. We've only been streaming for 27 minutes. You're curious to see what Concord is? Speaking of Batman, what are your thoughts on Xbox signing a deal with Rocksteady? I'm all for it. Let's get more action games out there. Let's get more of that, you know, the free flow combat. I'm all for it, man. I just hope this is what I would love to see them do. Just start spending more money to make great games, but don't acquire anybody. Like, leave the devs alone. Just give them money. You know what I'm saying? Just get into, just full bore into publishing. Reach into those deep pockets and just start funding awesome games. That's what I want to see. I love action games. I do. I want more Batman games. I want more, you know, rock'em sock'em superhero games. They're fun. They really are fun. Looks like Screecher's going to have plans Friday night. Yeah, plans to be here, that's for sure. Who's Ben Starr? Oh, he's really, really funny. He's a super charming guy. He's hosted a couple of things recently. He's the voice of Clive in Final Fantasy 16. And he kind of started getting a little bit of like virality on Twitter he started doing these videos of like, when he auditioned for Mario, I think that's when everybody decided, wait, he's not just a great voice actor. Like, this guy is super funny. He just seems like, and he seems like just such like a nice guy. So yeah, his audition for Mario, I think, is what really catapulted him into. I mean, everybody knew who he was already, but I feel like the audition to be the voice of Mario, that thing went. I don't even know how many views that tweet has now. It went viral, and now obviously he's leaning into it. He does goofy videos all the time on Twitter. He's not just a talented voice actor, like, he's good at comedic timing. He's good at, like, doing little skits and stuff. How about the return to PlayStation Home? What's that? I'm not sure what are you talking about? Are you talking about, like, something on the actual UI or the operating system? I want to see what PC will have to wait for. Oh, womp womp. Everybody was really thinking they were going to get day and date. And a single comes in from Bushin Ryu Cat and takes us to 77 members on the day. Listen. It shouldn't be that hard for everybody to accept the fact that they're not going to do PC day and date. So they can just deploy the standard wait until, that's, they're experts at that. I mean, they're experts at waiting until, wait until the tools and wait until the games come to PC and wait until we actually get some next gen games. Like, wait until, that's their motto. It's perfect. I don't see why anybody's upset. I think it works. I think it works just fine. A $10 super chat tip from Bushin Ryu Cat says, "Good morning, Lono and fellow Reforgers. As I'm tuning in now, we'll see you for State of Play. I'm playing Sony Corporate Meeting 24 in the back, like old E3 meetings. That's not weird if that's what you're interested in. I tagged you on the XDevs tweet. Thank you for the $2 super chat tip, Rich Rod. What an XDevs tweet about what specifically? PWH now with a $2 super chat tip. Thoughts on the PlayStation business meeting yesterday? It was great. It was really good. Yeah. That's what I think. I'm not seeing it, Rich Rod. You tagged me? What's I'm not seeing it. Did you tag Reforge Gaming or Reforge Media? I'm not seeing it. James Ray with a $2 super chat tip. I didn't get to see what you said. Wait until, that's right, wait until E3. Yeah. Wait until, guys, Wait until. Yeah, it's yeah. Someone unironically tweeted that. They were like, for now. I was like, okay, all right. It would be like, thank you for the single gifted Stone Spire. It would be like saying this business is going to shut down and then it never happens for like 30 years. And then when it finally does, you're like, I told you it was going to happen. All right. Like, it doesn't, I don't get it. Yeah, just wait. Rich Rods, you're trying to get my attention, Rich Rod. What are you saying? They want all creators who are co-streaming the show to put their channel on the tweet? Who? And another one from Stone Spire. Thank you so much. An ex-dev? What are you talking about? Oh, you're saying an Xbox dev? I'm not sure what you're trying to say, Rich Rod. And another one from Stone Spire takes us to 80. Rich Rod, if you're trying to get that kind of information to me, just use the Discord, brother. XDev wanted all creators who are co-streaming to put their channel on the tweet. Okay, can you just do that in the Discord? It's such an easier way of getting me a link. You just go into the Discord and you just paste it. It's super, super easy. I'm not. Twitter is really weird about that. Some people are like, "Hey, I replied to you, or I added you on Twitter," and I can't find it. It's super weird. Some of it's because Elon has really hurt he's really hurt Twitter. It doesn't operate all that great anymore. And other times it's like you just can't find anything. So if I just search Reforge Gaming and I go to latest, let's see here. Oh, I got it. Who is this? PlayStation Studios X-Dev. Calling all creators. Are you co-streaming to react? Drop your channels below. Okay, I'll do that. Thank you for that heads up, Rich Rod. I found it. I had to literally search my name. That's how I've had to do it in the past. What the heck was that? Oh, I see what it's doing. Okay, there we go. I did it. XDev Sony. Yeah, sorry. I wasn't sure what he was trying to say. You think we will see the rumored Lego Horizon Zero Dawn today? I don't know. The rumor is that the rumor around that was that it was going to be at the next Sony event. So That would be today, would it not? Now, I don't know if they want to save it for the showcase, because this is where it can get confusing. A lot of the leaks we were hearing and a lot of the rumors we were hearing, everybody was assuming we were getting a showcase in May because we got a showcase last year in May. So when Jeff Grubb said, oh, there's a PlayStation event in May, because a lot of people were giving him grief and they're like, oh, he said showcase, but it's actually a state of play. I don't think he said showcase. I just think he said PlayStation's having an event in May. Now, I could be wrong. Somebody could go get the direct quote. But it was my understanding that Grubb just said there's an event in May. And then everybody assumed, they all assumed that it was a showcase because PlayStation did a showcase last year in May. I think that's a fair assumption. I don't think people were like out in left field in that assumption. But once we got to this week and we got to Tuesday, I was like, it's not a showcase. It's not a showcase. They're not going to announce a showcase, 24 to 48 hours beforehand. They always announce showcases about a week before. So I was like, it's going to be a state of play. I said the Silent Hill thing is at 7. This is probably an hour before that. And that's where it landed. That's right where it landed. So I don't know why everybody jumped to showcase. And I think when they jumped to showcase, they started looking at the rumors of like Lego Horizon or God of War Ragnarok PC or the Astro game, and they're just assuming everything's going to be there because it's a showcase. Well, you've got to temper a lot of those expectations now because it's a state of play. It's a state of play, so it's going to be a lot more. I would significantly lower your expectations. It's going to be, I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to have exciting things. But I don't think it's going to be this knockdown, drag out, oh my gosh, 45-hour long minute thing. It's a little over 30 minutes. So I think people need to lower their expectations. I need coffee every day, graybeard problems. There you go. Yeah, we have coffee. I don't think it's ready yet. You can use the coffee command in chat though, and it will take you to the old site. But reforgeroast.com is, no, we're still not ready. So, yeah, my Showstopper, and I know this is wishful thinking, so I'm not saying that this is going to happen because, like, I'm in the know or because, like, I think this is going to happen. I just am like, come on, dude, Ghost of Tsushima teaser. That's your Showstopper. You come back from the trailer, Herman Hulst is standing there, and he's like, we hope you enjoyed that, quick look at Ghost of Tsushima 2 or whatever. We can't wait to share more at this year's showcase. Like, I really do think they're going to confirm showcase. I think they need to. I think everybody was like, hey, why aren't you doing a showcase in May? What the frick's going on? You did one last year. You're a part of Summer Game Fest and you're just going to do a state of play? What's the big deal? I think they need to say, we can't wait to share more at our showcase this year to let people know, oh, there's a showcase coming. Instead of just letting that hang in the air about like, well, are you guys going to do a showcase? Gangs with 38 months in a VIP. Sony should probably call a plumber. They've got crap leaking everywhere. I don't trust a lot of those showcase or state of play leaks. I don't. Has there ever been a time, I feel like this happens every time there's a showcase or a state of play or anything. Has there ever been a time those leaks have been correct? I feel like they're always wrong. I feel like they're always either 100% embellished to trick everybody, or it's just people making somewhat educated guesses. So then, if like most of it's right or half of it's right, they can claim, well, yeah, they must have made some changes. It's like, I don't know, dude. I feel like we've been here before, and everybody always says, oh, showcase leaked, state of play leaked. And then we watch and we're like, no, it didn't. Like, I don't know if we've ever seen one of those leaked lists turned out to be correct. That's why I don't even cover them. I don't include them. I don't read through them. I'm like, we get here every year, and there's always these leaks of the entire slate of what's going to be talked about. Edward Holtz with a 5 spot says, only expectation I have is Concord gameplay. Everything else is icing on the cake, and it'll be a good show. Yeah, I mean, Concord, I think, is one of the more likely appearances, which was why some of those leaks don't look accurate to me. They don't show Concord. I'm like, how would they not show Concord? Unless they're saving Concord for Summer Game Fest, or their own showcase. Raijin comes in with a 5-bomb and takes us to 85 members on the day. Every 100, I owe you guys 20 members because I do 20 every 25 I do 5. And I haven't had a chance to do it yet. You guys have been screaming. We need to petition someone to bring back E3. Why? You don't need E3. Xbox can do their own showcase. PlayStation can do their own showcase. Ubisoft and all these other companies can do their own showcases. What do we need E3 for? I just got a tip. Lego Horizon will not be shown today. You just got a tip. It's 10:16 and we have 85 members. What kind of game is Concord again? We are all assuming it's going to be like a PvPvE extraction game of sorts. Yo, what's good? What's good, Doc Dark? It seems like it's going to be some type of an extraction game. PvPvE. It will be live service. It is going to hit PlayStation 5 and PC day and date. So don't say day and date too much, though. It's a bit of a sore subject this morning. So let's have some... let's try to be sympathetic. Let's try to be sympathetic to the pathetic, okay? Let's try our best. Don't say day and date too much. It's a sore subject. It's an FPS hero shooter? You think Concord's a hero shooter? I know Marathon shifted to being a hero shooter. PvP game, we don't know anything else. What have you read that indicates it's a hero shooter? People keep asking businesses to make terrible moves that cost money and don't generate ROI. Doc says, Lamau, everything going day and date, Lono. You got to hear what he told me. You're a straight fool. You're a straight fool, dude. I saw your thumbnail. I was like, I ain't even clicking on that, Doc. You're a freaking fool, bro. At least you're having fun with it. You're having fun with it. Some of these guys are digging their heels in. They're like, nope, it's still happening. Someday, one day, maybe in the future from, not right now, though. Yo, Ghost in the Garage Gaming, my man. I see you out there on Twitter, always looking fresh, always looking clean. When we hanging, bro? We got to hang. Yo, it's a 13-month VIP. Been a minute, Lono. Here you go. Thank you so much, brother. The new leader over at PlayStation does not understand the PC audience. He thinks PC users will play a game and then buy a PlayStation for the sequel. Absolutely no chance that works out. We know of at least 3 people that did that in this community. Why do you think there's no chance that'll work out? I've seen a lot of the commentary on that. And what I always find very amusing is how little these gaming journalist bloggers actually know about the industry. Like, they should do a little bit of research into the percentage of PC gamers that have top shelf rigs. Just spend the weekend, pour yourself a cup of coffee, and just go do a little research and be like, all right, there's so many Steam users, in the world, PC gamers. What percentage of those people are on top level rigs? Okay. When you're done doing that, do a little research into how many people are on mid to low level rigs. Just for fun. Just see. And then maybe reevaluate, thinking that, why would anybody upgrade from their $5,000 PC to a console? You'll be able to answer that question. Listen, I know research is difficult. I know proper investigation is really hard. Like, it's really hard for one of you. I know it's really, really hard to properly investigate things and to fact find, facts and truth are difficult for certain people. But I think you'll have an answer to your question, Just how many people would be willing to do this? There's a lot. There's a lot of people that aren't really on the strongest of PCs, and they might really want to play the sequel to a game that sold really well. Like, what did Ghost of Tsushima do? Oh, that's right. I forgot. That's right. This just happened. Ghost of Tsushima broke all the concurrent records of the PlayStation games so far. So that's an awful lot of people that are going to see a sequel to that game enhanced on a PS5 Pro, more than likely, hitting really, really good performance on a $600 console. That's probably where the Pro is going to land. And if that person's like, you know what, that performance is good enough for me and that's cheaper than upgrading hardware, you have an answer to your question. Like, obviously, yes, anybody who has a top shelf rig has zero interest in a console. Well, I take that back. Some of them do, but not in large quantity, right? Most people that are in like the, I spent $3,000 to $5,000 on my PC, most of those people are not going to be interested in a console. There's a small percentage that will, because they like to have everything, right? I'm looking at some point this year upgrading to like a really high-end PC, but that doesn't mean I wouldn't still buy a Nintendo Switch 2 or a PlayStation 5 Pro. But I am very, very much a minority. The average person that invests that much money into their PC, they're not interested in a console. That's a fair observation, I think, to make. But there aren't very many of them globally. They're not a large percentage of that user base. Zubair says, we need to separate high-end PC from mainstream. Two very different consumers. People on a $4,000 rig are not thinking twice about a $500 console. People on a mid-range PC are getting great value in a console. Lono, top PC gamers still buy consoles? I would say they're the smaller percentage, though, Doc. I think there's a far greater likelihood of somebody who's on like a 1600 series card or even like a 2080 series card at this point being compelled by a PlayStation 5 Pro. I could totally see that. If a PlayStation 5 Pro walks out and they're like, hey, Ghost of Tsushima 2 is going to run at 4K 60 with ray tracing, that's pretty dadgum impressive. Like, that's what that box is targeting. So let's say they achieve that with certain games. And if you played Ghost of Tsushima on your mid-level rig and you see a $600 console and you're like, I'm going to get performance that's basically equal to or greater than what I have on my PC, that's a sale that could potentially happen. Like, that's what they're going after. They're not interested in being like, well, no, we got to make sure we're there day and date on PC. They're interested in showing you, look how great our property is, and if you want it as soon as it comes out, you can come over here. And the water's fine. The water's warm. We get very good performance on our console. Yes, it's $500. And yes, it's not going to give you path tracing in 4K and make your eyeballs bleed. That's not what they're targeting. They're targeting people that are more in the middle. And there's way more of those people. Well, I don't like PS5, and I have two of them in my house. PlayStation is just the common. Top PC gamers probably have a PC for just in case. I mean, Doc, I'll go with that. That strong gaming enthusiasts might actually own a PS5, just like I think a lot of the gaming enthusiasts also just own a Switch, just because they want to, to have it. Why is Day and Date a sore spot? I'm out of the loop. Because there was a presentation last night and everybody was holding their breath, hoping that PlayStation was going to announce that they were going to be going day and date with their titles. And Herman Holst made it abundantly clear, crystal clear, that's not their goal with their tentpole titles. Their goal with their tentpole titles is to bring them to PC later in the hopes of coaxing those people to be like, man, these PlayStation games are really good. I might buy a PlayStation. Like, I think it works. We're not a super large community, and there's like 3 people in our community that did that. They had to have Ragnarok. They bought a PS5. They played God of War 2018 on a PC. They saw the commercials for Ragnarok, and they're like, I'm getting one. You play Ghost of Tsushima, and you see some banger of a trailer for Ghost of Tsushima 2, and you're like, I mean, my PC's not top of the line. I got okay performance. I can buy a $600 PS5 Pro, and Tsushima's enhanced for the PS5 Pro, and it's going to run at 4K 60. That's not exactly what he said. That's a very good paraphrase of what he said, Doc. I watched the clip. He said, we're going to continue to bring our tentpole titles to PC in order to coax people to come to the PlayStation. It's the idea is we're going to do it later. We're not doing day and date. He specifically drew a line of we're going to do day and date with live service, but our big tentpole narrative-driven titles, that's not what they're going to do with them. That's not the goal. That's not the idea. Now, I still think there could be more titles that are day and date when we get to the PlayStation 6, but the Spider-Man 3 game, they might have only been thinking of doing that because it's going to ship with multiplayer. So there could be a live service element to Spider-Man 3, and that's why you would be planning a day and date release. $5 super chat from PWH Down. If PC is as viable as some claim, why is the biggest game this decade, GTA 6, skipping it at launch? Sony won't hurt the console by going to a smaller base. Well, and console the console generates way more revenue. The console ecosystem generates way more revenue than PC in gaming. We looked at that yesterday. Zero Steel with 12 months and says, watch PC people buy a PS5 for GTA 6. Also 12 months, baby. Yeah, 12 months, whole year. He said PlayStation platform, just playing devil's advocate. Doc, you have to read it in the context of what he's saying. He's saying PlayStation platform juxtaposed against PC. Homie, come on. Come on. Don't. You're better than that. You're better than these buffoons on Twitter, Doc. Don't do that. He said PlayStation platform. In the context, it was juxtaposed against PC as a platform. Homie, don't do that. Please don't stoop to this Twitter buffoonery. It's such buffoonery, bro. Listen to it again. He was very slick. He said different strategy, but he said he didn't exactly say what the strategy is. Could it be someday and date? Like I said, I think by the time we get to PlayStation 6 era, there could be some of the bigger titles that are day and date, but that also could purely be a live service aspect. Spider-Man 3, according to the Insomniac leaks, is shipping with multiplayer. So they might view it as we stand our best chance to ship this day and date, but I don't think they're going to shift their narrative-driven tentpole titles like God of War, Last of Us, and games like that. I don't think those will be day and date, no. I'm not better than that. I got a channel to run. Come on, Doc. Listen, Doc. Your content can be funny and in character. Don't do the conspiracy theory stuff that these guys are doing. It was an L. If I've ever seen a giant skyscraper-sized L just drop out of the sky, that was it. That was it, bro. I love your chat, Lono. Some understand me and some don't, but regardless, they engage. I try to tell him, Doc. I'm like, he's being a carrot 20 bomb from MASH comes in and blasts us past 100, 105. That puts us 20 away from the next milestone. We'll see if anybody wants to do a tag team 20 bomb dunker to 125. Somebody link arm in arm with MASH and make it happen. I try to tell people, Doc, I'm like, listen, it's a character. He's having fun. He's having a laugh. These guys on Twitter ain't having a laugh, dude. They're serious. They're serious, dude. They're buffoons. They are buffoons. And the thing that drives me crazy, this is what drives me crazy. This is the recipe. Drive a false narrative for months and for years. And when the false narrative gets destroyed, anybody that points it out, you're like, whatever, you're just a pony. And it's like, let me get this straight. You run a false narrative for months, and it gets demolished, and I'm a pony for pointing it out. I literally just retweeted it with like a laughing face. Like, I think it's funny. I do. I've consistently tried to say, like, stop getting your information from people that just lie. They're not telling you the truth. It's just been a streak of L's this year for the side that consistently insisted on things that were so painfully obvious to anybody with any shred of business acumen. It was like, none of this is going to work. Whether it was the sustainability and profitability of Game Pass and whether or not Game Pass promotes sales and increases sales, we all knew that was bogus. We all knew this was going to head towards publishing. We all knew it was more than 4 games. We all knew this stuff was coming. You're not a pony, but you definitely gallop sometimes. And when they clip you, holy cow. Let them clip me. I don't care. Let them clip me. I talk a mile a minute and I rant and I rave. It's very, very easy to slice out a minute and be like, this guy's insane. Come watch the live show, right? You know the Be a Man Mafia? Stop being a little punk on Twitter and clip sniping. Come in here and engage. Be a man. Be a man. That's what I say. Like, come on. It's just been a streak of L's. And then you're going to get mad when people point it out. It's like, well, what the frick? Like, I've been trying to go facts-based, like, truth-based coverage. And because that's not your brand, you know, you got to attack anybody that points out, not Doc, I'm not talking to Doc. You got to attack anybody that points out the fact that everything they've been saying is not true. It's just like, you guys are bad at this because you don't link anything to truth. You don't link anything to accuracy. That's why you're bad at this. You can't be consistent when you're always trying to spin something. The only thing that's consistent is the spinning. So it's like, when I saw that last night, I was like, this is just another prime example of why you should just stop listening to these people. The industry's in trouble. PlayStation's in trouble. And they come out and they're like, oh, this is the most profitable PlayStation we've ever had. This is the most profitable PlayStation these, people had. This has been excellent. It's like, okay. It's easy to hurl insults to mask your own insecurities and inability to admit you're wrong. I'm always accurate, says Kirk. Guys, I just want to remind everybody that Kirk thinks Indiana Jones is getting a Game of the Year nomination. I just want to remind everybody that Kirk thinks that's going to happen. We need to continue to make sure. I really want to make sure he gets credit if it happens. A bunch of the same people who wondered who would buy a Portal are now wondering who would buy a console for a sequel to a banger. Meanwhile, they're buying consoles for GTA 6. Yeah, these are the same people, these are the same outlets that told you industry's in trouble, PlayStation's in trouble. These are the same people. Why are you even listening to them anymore? Most of us only pay attention to them because we want to have a little giggle every now and then. It's like, oh, look at how wrong they are again. That's the only reason some of us pay any attention. Just stop listening to them. Industry's in trouble. Both Xbox and PlayStation are really going to have to change strategies. And PlayStation comes out and is like, no, yeah, it was the most profitable PlayStation we've ever had. And we're very satisfied with the sales. And yeah, we're not going to do day and date. And yeah, we're going to kind of stick with what we've been doing. But I thought they were in trouble. I thought the industry was hurting. I thought we were headed towards a crash. I thought the younger generation was only going to play on mobiles and tablets, and they weren't going to play on consoles. I thought that they were going to have to completely change their strategy because they were going to fall behind. I thought they were going to have to start putting their games on Xbox. None of that's true. Consoles are dying. The younger generation isn't buying them or playing on them. Just stop. Just stop. You know what's frustrating about it is it's not hard to be good at this. I'm letting you know a little secret. It isn't hard to be good at this. You just have to look at the numbers and the facts. A refusal to do that, people end up breaking their neck. It's like you're breaking your own neck. All you got to do is look at the numbers. All you got to do is look at the stats. It's not hard. It's easy. This is easy. This is that point in Good Will Hunting where Matt Damon's like, do you know how easy this is for me? And he burns the piece of paper. That's what I'm saying to you is this is easy. It's not difficult. It's not rocket science. You don't need a degree. You don't need to know how to, do long division. All you got to do is know how to read charts. It's that simple. The reason these people break their necks is because they're not beholden to the truth and the facts. They're beholden to an agenda. They're trying to drive a narrative. And when you try to drive a narrative, eventually you run out of railroad tracks and you smack into the wall. And it's like, oh, well, looks like we were wrong about literally all of this. Did you see the ESA report? Yeah, consoles aren't just still doing well, Street Shadow. Thank you for the $5 Super Chat tip. The generation that we've been told are going to abandon consoles and play on mobiles and tablets, they make up the larger portion on consoles. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable how consistently wrong some of these people are. It's mind-boggling that they even attempt to keep doing it. It's like, why wouldn't you just stop and just start being more facts-based? Like, it's so easy. I want it noted for the record, I'm bypassing this chance to make fun of Lono's degrees. Oh, I guess I'm not. Never mind. Yeah, I have. Do it. Do it. Lono comparing himself to Will Hunting. You're not him. You honestly think that's what I was saying with that reference? You're being willfully, like, that's willful ignorance. I wasn't saying that I was equal to a genius in a movie that's fictional where the guy is like basically a savant. He's basically like a prodigy. If you think that's what I was saying with that example, you're probably going to really struggle with the rest of the stream because I talk fast and use big words. You're going to have a hard time. I was quite literally saying, to the degree that that was really easy for him, that's how easy this is. It's so easy. It's not difficult. It isn't. There's nothing challenging about just like looking at facts and looking at charts and being like, well, this industry's fine. What are you talking about? Lono is saying he can also set a piece of paper on fire. Yes, I too can set a piece of paper on fire. Jiminy Christmas. The older generations are slightly favoring PCs over consoles. That's actually not surprising, because the older generation, a lot of us cut our teeth in the PC environment. Like when I started taking gaming seriously, that's what I did. I built my own PC and I played Quake and Unreal Tournament and Call of Duty. And I think a lot of those guys are returning to that, or maybe they never left. You know, maybe they never left. But the point is that even if the older generation is doing that also, I think sometimes that happens when you get into an older part of your life. It's easier, I think. No, let me say it this way. I think it makes more sense if you're going to become like a hobbyist gamer. That's a great way to spend tons of money. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, you buy a console and you play console games. I think that's fine. But man, you can invest in lighting and like nice monitors and RBG. Like that makes sense to me that the older generations like that are doing PC. That makes sense to me. My dad never left. Yeah, a lot of people never left. I keep my toe in PC gaming. I started with Nintendo, got into PC gaming, went to console gaming, and now I just have it all. I mean, I dip my toe in PC gaming. I just prefer the simplicity of a console because it's just easier. Wonder how much of this also has to play for emerging markets like India. We have no nostalgia for consoles. Oh, who have no nostalgia for consoles? Yeah, but that's just it, Ginger. The younger generation is embracing consoles at a higher percentage than the other generations. That report that came out showed that, and it doesn't surprise me at all. I always talked about the people that I interact with, the youth, whether it's my nephews or like the youth at my church, like they don't care. They'll game everywhere. And a lot of the ones I talk to have consoles. They have a Switch, they have a PlayStation, they have it all. Like they don't care. They don't have platform allegiance. They just go where the games are. Which is exactly why having really, really strong first-party exclusives is incredibly important. Because why did my nephews get a PlayStation 5? Because they wanted to play Spider-Man 2. They wanted to play the games that you can only get there. You haven't seen a new report? What's it called? ESA report? It was basically a breakdown showing that the consoles aren't in trouble, the industry's not in trouble. All the crap we heard for the first 4 months of this year, well, industry's in trouble, industry's going to crash, everybody's got to change strategies, and all it was projecting Xbox's struggles on the industry. It's like, yeah, the company in third place, they're an indicator of where the industry's going. Yeah, I saw that. I don't think a lot of the leaks of showcases are reliable, Kirk. We don't live in a world where kids run the market. It's 21 to 40-year-olds. ESA, it's American market focused. People consistently misrepresent the size of PC gaming community. PC gaming is expensive, says AOZ. PC gaming is mainly for specific types of games that consoles don't have. Past that, consoles are just a cheaper way to reliably play AAA games. What's interesting about the PS5 sales from something we're seeing, though, is that 30% of PS5 owners never owned a PS4. Well, it'll be interesting to see if these are lapses in PS2, PS3 players, Xbox converts, or new console owners. Oh. It's extremely easy to see what's happened, Ginger. If you look at the sales in America, it's migration. All of those Xbox sales charts that are slowing down, I think a lot of the people that have bought a PlayStation 5 are migrating from Xbox, which means what's going to happen when all of those PlayStation 4 owners start migrating as well. Detective Seeds with a 10 bomb comes in and takes us to 115. Yo, Thrash is in the chat. I always like watching Thrash's stuff. Look. What's he saying? What's Thrash saying? They're actually in 5th if you include PC and mobile, literally the bottom. Right, Thrash. It's like you can't say that the person that's been unable to get traction in the market can speak to the challenges of the market. It's like, what? Like, if I wanted to know the challenges of distance running, I wouldn't talk to the person who crosses the finish line after the sun is down. I would talk to the top 10 runners and be like, what does it take to get to this level? What does it take to maintain your endurance? I wouldn't talk to the person that barely did it. It doesn't make any sense to be like, yeah, well, you know, elevation and stuff, bro. Like, that wouldn't even, you wouldn't get, it's like, you're not the person I'm going to go to. You're not an authority on the market. You're not an authority on this. You can't even do it. You have more money than Nintendo and PlayStation, and you've proven that you can't do this. So why would we listen to you? It's like, what? These other companies are posting profits and growth and doing excellently. And it's like, we're supposed to listen to you? Thank you again, Detective Seats, for the 10 bomb on the members. You guys are crushing the member count. Thrash is the guy who knows the guy that is the guy. He's that guy. What? I have a high-end gaming PC, but the truth is console is what drives the games forward, says Jorge. There's a fun chart that sums up all of the market share talk. With respect to what, Mean Joe Green? What are you talking about? Everyone in chat saying hi to Thrash. Housemarque is a PlayStation studio. Who's debating whether or not Housemarque is a PlayStation studio? Thrash has yet to make an analysis video on Square Enix's new strategy. Why are you concerned about Square Enix's new strategy? Chris F. says, what's easier to gift a kid, a $500 console or a $1,500 PC that's either pre-built or the parents have to figure it out? Oh, exactly. That's why I don't think this idea that consoles are going to leave and PCs are going to become the main platform. I don't see how that would happen, because you're always going to have a generation that wants to get into gaming, and the access point is going to need to be at a very, very consumer-friendly level. The more complexity that something goes up as a product, the harder it is to get mainstream market-wide adoption. The more complex something is, it's far more difficult. You're not going to see that. The minute something requires any level of even the most moderate amount of specialization, and people that play on PCs are like, I don't understand why anybody thinks that. And it's like, that's because you're in that ecosystem. You can't see all of the mental barriers that people feel like they have to get over to come over there. They don't see it the way you do. The consumer's like, there's all these wires and lights, and I work on a PC when I'm at my job. I want a console. I want to play games. Like, it's just, there's so many things in the way of the average consumer wanting to be like, yeah, I don't want consoles anymore. I want PC. People love appliances, and that's not an insult. People want things that just work. That's exactly right. PC gaming won't be mainstream, but it'll continue to grow. I mean, I think it'll continue to grow, but I also think that if you can get something like if this Xbox thing that they're talking about, this next piece of hardware, if that thing can basically be like an affordable, streamlined PC for your living room, I think that could be your road. That's the only way you're going to get the mainstream consumers to say, oh, yeah, this is a lot I'll buy that. They're not going to want to buy a PC, but they'll buy a box. They'll buy something that they just plug into the TV. Let's ask Suzuki about their car strategy and how the market is down in the dumps. That's good, Ghost. Exactly. I play on a console. I work on computers. Do you mostly play on PC or PS5? I mostly play on PS5 now. I mained Xbox through the 360 era, through the Xbox One era. That's where my largest library is. That's where I own the most games. I got into the Xbox 360 era with World at War, and I built my library there. And then through the Xbox One era, I built my library while I also primarily played Destiny. I only got a PlayStation 4 because my audience bought me one, sent me one, and I played Destiny and Division on it, and that's it. I did not start playing PlayStation 4 games until I bought a PlayStation 4 Pro, and I played Spider-Man and God of War 2018 on it. That's when I started playing PlayStation games, and I think I played Uncharted 4 as well back then. And then when this generation came, I was fully behind Xbox. I was at the 2019 E3. I was a main stage host at E3 2019. I got to interview like the head guy at Call of Duty and the head guy from ID at Xbox. It was really, really fun. And during the Xbox showcase, they had their Project Scarlet marketing. I was fully behind Xbox this generation. I thought they were going to crush it. I thought, oh my gosh, this hardware they're talking about sounds insane. The fact that I'm going to get that level of performance from a console, they're talking about up to 120 FPS. They're talking about 4K. I was fully behind them. I bought the Xbox Series X first. I bought the PlayStation 5 later. And then every year that passed since, I've just looked at Xbox and been like, nothing that you're doing appeals to me. You launched virtually no next-gen titles, first-party next-gen titles. You made good on virtually none of your promises for the Xbox Series X. You came out with the Series S for whatever the frick reason, and that thing basically has hamstrung the entire generation. And then I started playing games on my PlayStation 5. I played Ghost of Tsushima with increased graphics, God of War 2018 with increased graphics. I played Returnal. I played Ratchet & Clank. Then I played the director's cut of Tsushima. And every year that has passed since, I feel like I've gotten a significantly more consistent cadence and more consistent level of quality from PlayStation. And I get called a pony because I basically decided I bought a bunch of consoles. I've got a bunch of places to play games. These guys are delivering more consistently. So I just started playing theirs. Like, what was I supposed to do? Instead of playing a brand new PlayStation 5 game like Ratchet & Clank, what was I supposed to do? Sit around and wait for Xbox to do something? Only play old games or indie games on Game Pass? I wasn't beholden to a team. I wasn't beholden to a brand or Game Pass. I just wanted to play awesome games. That's all I cared about. And then when you walk into 2023, we start looking at Xbox's strategy with the acquisition, and I was like, this all sounds terrible. I don't like consolidation. I've watched and lived through consolidation in the cell phone market. I watched my dad go through consolidation in his company, and I'm like, consolidation is never good for the consumer. And we warned, and we argued, and we told people all last year, this is a terrible idea. And what happened in the first 4 months of this year? Everybody on that side that spit in my face and attacked me and clipped me and put me in their videos, they all woke up to the realization that Xbox isn't doing anything for you. This isn't going to be good for you. They're all like regretting the acquisition now. They're like, well, this is this is terrible. The Xbox is losing its identity. Yeah, you're right, because Microsoft is taking over, which is what I always tried to say last year. So it's like, arriving where I've arrived today, where I'm like, yeah, I play mostly on PlayStation. I don't know what else I was supposed to do. I don't know how other people haven't done that. I mean that. I don't know how, if you're a gamer, I don't know how you haven't also gone through that same process of being like, I'm not getting anything over here. I'm not getting anything I was promised. Like, you can yell at me and call me a pony all you want. What are you getting that's making you loyal to that brand? What are they giving you? What have you received in the last 4 years that has won this level of loyalty that you'll attack me? Just a guy on the internet who yells into a microphone. Like, what's motivating that? What's the point? What are you doing? It doesn't make any sense to me. Now, we've seen some people jump. We've seen people jump. Doc jumped to PC. Tim Dog, he jumped to PlayStation. There are people that are finally saying, all right, I'm out of here. I'm not getting anything. Especially if you're a Series X owner. I don't have anybody who bought a Series X could spend a minute of their day defending Xbox. I don't know why you would. I don't know why you would. You got sold a bill of goods. You got taken for a ride. I remember canceled games and layoffs. Yeah, what a year. That's why I don't usually buy a console the first year. I always wanted to wait and see how each console is doing before pulling the trigger. That's a smart play, Jack. That's a smart play. It really is. I've been questioning since the Xbox One, says Lions fan. What is Microsoft doing? There's no reason to own an Xbox. That being said, my boys love it, and I have 4 in my house. I actually don't think, if you have younger gamers, I do think Xbox and Game Pass is still a great value. I do. For me, I'm not getting anything that I wanted at all. If you go back and watch the Project Scarlet marketing and the Xbox Series X marketing, it's like watching fan fiction. It's like, well, that all sounds great. I wish they would have done that. It's like watching fan fiction. It's like watching a fan, you know those fan-made trailers where they're like, oh, a new Harry Potter's coming out. And it's all fake. That's what it feels like. That's why when I look at the PlayStation, State of Play and the PlayStation Showcase, I mean, I can't help but get excited. I'm like, they've done a great job this gen. And that's why I didn't even watch any of the stuff with Herman Hulse last night. Do you want to know why? Because I knew when the facts come out, everything we've seen, all the sales trajectories that we've seen, all the reports that we've seen, these guys are killing it. These guys are killing it. Like, I literally opened up Twitter last night and I was like, oh yeah, the thing happened. Let me see what was said. And I watched one clip and I was like, wow. It's so surprising that PlayStation doesn't feel a need to completely change their strategy. It's so surprising that a bunch of dishonest people told us that PlayStation was in trouble and the market's in trouble and the industry's in decline and PlayStation's going to have to do day and date. Like, it wasn't even surprising. I was just like, yeah, sounds about right to me. I agree in retrospect, but at the time, I think the value proposition of the Xbox Series was very good. And I had most of my friends on the Xbox ecosystem. See, here's the thing, MASH. That's what fuels my frustration. That's what fuels my frustration because I did the same thing. What a great value proposition. I remember talking about the Series S thinking, that's crazy. That's crazy. I was like, for that much money to get 1440 60, that's a bargain. If that box was consistently hitting 1440 60, that thing it would almost feel like a dream. It's like, how is that even possible? And Game Pass, again, great value. The backwards compatibility, FPS boost. I have a huge library. I remember playing Titanfall 2 with FPS boost. I remember playing one of the Battlefield games with FPS boost. I remember thinking, wow, this is great. And then slowly but surely, the veneer faded. And it was like, what the frick are you guys doing? Where are all of the games? Where's the next gen? What's happening here? And then I turned critical. I said, I don't like any of the things that you're doing. You guys haven't delivered on any of the promises that got me to buy your plastic. I think having standards is liberating, because what it means is you never have to compromise. You're always in a free stance to say, nope, don't agree, don't like. I don't want you to do that. It was like when I took PlayStation to task over the Helldivers 2 situation with requiring the logins. I was like, you guys are freaking morons. I was like, this is an exceptional circumstance. You make an exception. I held them 100% accountable for that. I was like, this is on you. I took up for the player. I took up for what was more important for the live service game, because I'm not beholden to kissing PlayStation's ring. And I don't care if that means I get blacklisted. I was very critical in my video. I didn't hold back. I was like, this has got to be one of the dumbest things I could see you guys do. That's very liberating to be like, if a company crosses the line, if a company doesn't do what you think they should do, or they don't uphold the standards that you have, you take them to task for it. You don't buy. You withhold your money, you withhold your support, whatever the case may be. I did that with Jedi Survivor. I was like, this is a joke. I was like cheering for Jedi Survivor to not win any awards. I didn't want it to win any awards because I was like, you guys knowingly shipped a game that wasn't ready. And you didn't need to, because you're Star Wars. You could have waited. You could have waited, and you could have had a much better game. Much better reception. The problem with online discussion is there's an industry issue with the overhiring and layoffs, but Sony and Nintendo aren't as impacted by this because of making strong calls. 10 spot from Supremacy. If possible, Lono, what would Sony acquiring Valve mean to you? Would it constitute to a monopoly, or simply amounts to being the most significant acquisition in gaming history? Keep that 30%. I don't want anybody to buy Valve. I don't want anybody to buy Valve. I think that would be bad for the industry. I think Valve is good for the industry being their own. I don't want anybody to purchase them. I don't care who it is. Hyper with the 5 spot says, why do you ponies care so much about game sales as a consumer? Because I'm an educated consumer. I'm not just a consumer. There's a difference. I'm not educated on the ins and outs of vacuum cleaners. So when I buy a vacuum cleaner, I don't pay attention to the brands or their profit reporting or anything like that. I have to open the door to the office. Hang on. I want to continue to answer your question, but it's getting warm in here. So, I am not an educated consumer when it comes to vacuum cleaners. So I'm never going to go like watch some earnings report or follow those companies on Twitter. But I'm an educated gaming consumer. And I know that if a game does well, if a game sells well, if a company makes really, really smart decisions, I get more of the thing that I like. I get more of the thing that I like. Because that matters to me as a consumer. Why? Because a vacuum cleaner isn't a hobby. I mean, it might be, right? If you just really love vacuum cleaners and maybe that's your business, right? You do house cleaning or something. But for me, it's not. This is my hobby. It's also what I do for a business. I have a vested interest in seeing the gaming industry, the games that I love, the studios that I love. I want to see them do well. I've been accused of being a corporate shill because I say things like, I want these companies to make buckets of cash. If they make buckets of cash, do you know what they're going to do? They're going to say, let's keep going. Let's keep spending in this industry. Let's keep shipping games. We're making really good money. The investors, the shareholders, the C-suite, the decision makers are going to say, let's keep going. We're making good money. If the market and the consumer stops supporting something or stops spending money on something, or if something fails, like what happened with Tango Gameworks, that affects me. Like, let's imagine there are people that are worried that, like, Ninja Theory will shut down, right? They're worried that Ninja Theory will shut down. That affects me personally. They made a game that I love. Their first game I love. They made a game that I love, and I want more games from them. And if they get shut down, then I lose value in the market. I lose value in the market if that happens. If you really, really liked Hi-Fi Rush, my daughter loved Hi-Fi Rush. She loved it. Anytime she's seen one of my thumbnails, if I'm covering Hi-Fi, she gets excited. She and anybody else that loved Hi-Fi aren't going to get a sequel to Hi-Fi. Why? Because Microsoft's running with a strategy that you can't keep a company like that. They're just cutting. They're just going to start trimming the fat. There'll be more. There'll be more studio closures. I told people a bunch of times last year, I said, one of the first things that's going to happen when the ABK ink is dry is you're going to see studios shut down. And I was told that's ridiculous. That'll never happen. They're not going to do that. Okay. That didn't work out for very long about them not closing studios. So then I lose something in the market. If PlayStation's reckless and stupid and makes bad decisions and Sucker Punch has to close down and I don't get Ghost of Tsushima 2, I am dissatisfied as a consumer. These people that are like, why do you care about that? Why do you care? Why do you care if these businesses are successful? Because you dolt. If they're not, I don't get any more games. The anti-corporation diatribes that these people go on, it's like they don't realize they're basically yelling and screaming, who cares if the boat sinks, while they're standing on the boat? It's like, what are you talking about? You don't care if these companies lose money? You don't care if they don't make a bunch of profit? If they don't make a bunch of profit, if they don't make a bunch of money, they'll find ways to protect their margins, and it ain't going to make you happy. They're going to lay people off. They're going to shut down studios. They're going to cancel projects. They're going to over-monetize. They're going to squeeze the industry, and you're going to be left wondering what in the world happened. It's like you're just so anti-corporation. Like, we should, like, supporting games and buying games at full price is like mocked. People mock that. Like supporting the game and supporting the studio and seeing it hit high sales numbers. They make fun of that. And it's like, yeah, you can make fun of that all you want, but those studios are still going to be around and keep making games. What are you going to do with all these studios that have to throw their games on a subservice and don't make any money and don't make any sales? What's going to happen there? I feel like Tango and Arcane were getting shut down a lot sooner if ZeniMax hadn't been bought. That observation doesn't make sense. Tango was getting ready to pitch the second game. And if they hadn't been bought, then Hi-Fi wouldn't have been a shadow drop on a subservice, and it might have made a good amount of money. What do you mean? A 5 bomb from Killhawk, thank you. Taking us to 120 members on the day. Good gracious. Listen, I know the subject is predictions and expectations for the state of play, but like, you can only do that for about 30 to 40 minutes, and then we run out of things to talk about. So now we're just talking about the PlayStation thing that happened last night with Herman Hulst, because that's relevant, and we're talking about the industry, and we're talking about both of these players that are going to be doing one's doing a state of play, one's doing a showcase. I think it's relevant to the discussion. I do. I don't think we can sit here for 2 hours and just only talk about things that might show up at a state of play. That you can't talk about that for 2 hours. The state of play is this evening at 6 p.m. Eastern, and I will be co-streaming it. 22 months from Xanatos. I'm getting new glasses soon from your recommended site. Which lens would you suggest for blue light blocking? The REM, the Focus, or the Dream? Sorry to be off topic. No, you're fine. Yeah, I work with Gamer Advantage, and let me see. I always get the same one. I always get the same tint. I just get the Focus because it doesn't add a lot of tint to the glasses. Like, you'll notice if you look at like my face through my glasses, you see how my skin's not like changing tone. You know what I mean? Yeah, so I would get the Focus. That's what I think that's what I always get. I've got a ridiculous number of frames from them. Are you going straight through the writer's room to State of Play? I don't know. We might stay in writer's room just because I think people will hang out. We can kind of turn it into into like a waiting room for the State of Play. Derek says, so I'm in gaming communities elsewhere that are remarkably less savvy with the ins and the outs of the gaming world. So daily I see people encouraging others to buy an Xbox for either made-up reasons or reasons that directly contradict reality. Average gamers don't know any of this stuff. And I seriously doubt they care one whit for Sony news, so they won't even know from a not propaganda source what's going down. Right, Derek. I mean, early this gen, I recommended the Series X to a friend of mine because I was like, dude, Game Pass is legit, and Xbox has got a lot of big titles coming. They're gonna have a really good run. And I told him last year, I was like, dude, I kind of feel bad that you bought that on my recommendation. I said they are not having a strong run with that. They didn't prioritize that piece of hardware at all. And he said it's fine. He said my kids use Game Pass. He's like, it's not that big of a deal. That reminds me, Holst isn't co-CEO until Saturday, so this State of Play is the end of Totoki and the beginning of the new Holshino era. Well, I guarantee you it'll be Herman Holst hosting the State of Play. He hosted the last one. I told you guys, back when Jim Ryan stepped down, I said, I really hope we get Herman Holst. I said, I like him. I think he has good presence on camera, and I think he's good for the role because he's been interacting with the studios for so long. Yo, Killhawk with the 5 spot. Thank you so much, man. Taking us to 125. There it is. I now owe you guys 25 members. Unbelievable run today, guys. Are you still friends? Still. Oh. With the guy I told to get a Series X. Yeah. Let's get him some donations for a PS5. Oh, no. He is incredibly wealthy. He is fine. He owns an incredibly lucrative business. Like, I would probably, if I ever walked away from doing this, I would just go work for him. I'm not kidding. He's fine. I just felt bad. I was like, I'm supposed to be the guy that you come to that kind of knows what's going on in the gaming world, you know? And I was wrong. I was wrong. Lotus Esprit with 3 months says, Lotus Esprit. Super excited for all gamers. I bought a PS5 Slim yesterday and a new Series S a few weeks ago. Ready for Solar Crown. Astrobot. What's Solar Crown? Sorcerer comes in and is the agent of chaos, and he pushes us past 125. Thank you so much for doing that, Sorcerer. And a 5 spot, a $5 super chat tip from Supremacy 101. He says, I don't have a problem with the game prices. I would gladly pay full price for a game as long as it merits it according to my standards and preferences. And another single comes in from DK Beggar. Guys, do me a solid right now. Do me a solid. We are having an incredible day right now. I cannot believe the number of people that are here. It's probably because I was ranting and raving, and a lot of the hate watchers pile in. They're like, he's bashing on Xbox again. Let's go get clips. I hope you get good ad revenue off of my face, okay? But to the rest of you, hit the like button, all right? Let's get 500 likes like that. There's 900 people here. I guarantee you there are plenty of you that have forgotten to hit the like button. So take a second, minimize chat, and smash that like button. Y'all are the best. It just burns my kimchi when I see people promising other people that Xbox is king. Just wait, with false promises of exclusivity. Solar Crown is the new Test Drive Unlimited game. Think open world driving game. Oh, okay, cool. That's why it's off my radar. I don't play the racing games. I mean, here's the thing, though. I mean, Xbox certainly does. I don't want to do the wait until thing, but they certainly do have. Why I keep getting a membership for this channel. I had to subscribe to leave this message. Thank you, though. I don't know why YouTube does that, Harlem. There's plenty of people here right now that are here all the time that it should have gone to. If you're never here, that doesn't make any sense. I don't want to do the wait until thing, but I do think Xbox does have, I think if we're going to say we're entering second half of this gen is when things, start to pick up. They are picking up this year. Hellblade 2, I've already said my piece about that. I don't need to revisit why that game is such an utter disappointment. But they have a pretty strong lineup this year. Stalker 2, Avowed, and Indiana Jones are still coming. Now, obviously, we don't know if those games are going to be amazing, lukewarm, or bad. We'll have to wait and see. So, I don't necessarily think that you have absolutely no reason to buy an Xbox right now, but I think it's a fair question that I have seen asked by really strong Xbox fans. They're like, if you're going to bring all these games to PlayStation, why would I buy an Xbox? And I know people say that about PlayStation. They're like, well, if the PlayStation games are going to come to a PC, why would I buy a PlayStation? Well, it's a similar answer, right? If you want to get those games right away, if you don't feel like waiting. I think the differences with Xbox that has people concerned is the waiting period's going to be pretty short, and there's going to start to be day and date games. So at that point, it's like, what am I really buying? I'm buying 6 months of early access. I'm buying this console so I can have 6 months of early access to Blade or whatever the case may be. I mean, Blade will probably be a day and date multiplat. If this Doom game that we're going to hear about at the Xbox Showcase is a day and date multiplat, it really starts to make people say, well, what in the world? Why would I buy this? So I can play the game a little bit early before these people get it in 3 to 6 months? Now, if these games take 1 year to 2 years to port to PlayStation, I think that's a better argument. If you really want to play Avowed and you really want to play Indiana Jones, and it takes 1 year for those games to hit PlayStation, I think that's still of value because you're also getting Game Pass, which means you're getting games like Black Ops 6 as well. And then when those games come out, you get them on Game Pass. Yeah, first, better, or best, exactly. Like, if you're still getting what is a measurable amount of first, better, or best, I think that's at least a reasonable offer. I don't find it that compelling, but I think that's at least a value proposition. Instead of being like, wait, all these games are launching day and date on the other platforms, why would I buy this? Big Willie with 4 months says, I play console and PC, but for me, I prefer my Series X for a home media device and controller preference. If a game is on Xbox, I will buy it on Xbox. Yeah, I used to be that way. I would prefer to play and buy a game on Xbox for the controller, especially. I liked the controller a lot more. I did not like the PlayStation 4 controller at all. I used a Cronus so that I could use an Xbox controller on my PlayStation 4. And I didn't even play PvP games on it. I just did it so I could play single-player games with an Xbox controller. Besides all that, games these days take weeks or months to get fixed. So what am I getting by playing early? An experience that needs patched? I mean, I think that's a fair question. That certainly is a fair question. If you wait, you're also getting a better version. I think that is an area where PlayStation excels. I don't feel like when I buy a PlayStation game, I have to worry about like what I got with Jedi Fallen Order. I don't ever have that concern with a PlayStation first party title. I'm like, no, that's not going to happen. Like Ghost of Tsushima 2 day one, I know when I buy that, I'm not going to get a disaster of a game. With respect to bugs and glitches and stuff, I just know. It's like, no, that's not. They have proven to have consistent quality. Like, they've proven that. So, what? You want to talk about the minor glitches and bugs in Spider-Man 2 that were grossly misrepresented. I mean, there were literally people making false clips on Twitter. That was so overblown. I encountered no glitches in that game. And the one was pretty funny. The cube was pretty funny. I wanted to say that both Spider-Man games and God of War were announced at PlayStation events for PC. So it isn't just Returnal. Okay, I said in the show open that I might have been mistaken. It was so hard to research. I couldn't find when they announced so many of the PC ports. I was like, when did they announce that? Because they would post a blog, and I was like, okay, but did you guys do this during an event and then post the blog after? Horizon was a bit buggy. Horizon had an instance with like enemy pop-in. That was the only thing I ever ran into. It wasn't even that bad. It wasn't like game breaking. I'm talking like unplayable game breaking bugs where you're like, well, this is a disaster. I better wait for a patch. A 5-spot from Will Lewis says, I think the new Doom is a different situation than Blade, though. Not saying it won't be multiplat, but Doom is an established series on PlayStation. Blade isn't. Will, I think there's an even stronger reason to think that Blade's going to be multiplat. It's a Marvel game, bro. And they quite literally have not uttered a single word about it being exclusive. There's no Xbox logos attached to any of the marketing. If you had that game and you owned that game for your system and it was going to be an exclusive, it would be included in the marketing day one. Because it's a Marvel Disney game, there is no reason to think that game's an exclusive. Do you remember that debate? You guys remember how ardently people were arguing? They're like, oh, come on, it's definitely an exclusive. You're coping. You're port begging. No, I'm not. I'm just observing what's so painfully obvious. It's a trailer with no Xbox logos, no Game Pass logos. They don't utter the word Xbox in the announcement. And it's a Marvel game. We know from the Insomniac leaks, if Marvel signs a contract with you to make a game, buddy, they want sales. I don't think I've ever told you this. You have amazing hair. I love your hair. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Did you not see the Digital Foundry video for Returnal PC? Half the video was negative, and it included a follow-up, one of the in the worst PC ports revisited video. That's not true. That isn't true. The Returnal port got high praise from Digital Foundry. What are you talking about? They didn't refer to that as one of the worst ports. What are you talking about? Returnal was praised as one of the better ports. What in the world? You're telling me that Digital Foundry said that Returnal was one of the worst ports? I never saw anybody say that. I didn't see a single person review that port and say it was one of the worst. The worst one was The Last of Us Part 1. Piper with a $2 super chat. What games does Sony have this year? I'll wait. What games does Sony have this year? They've already launched a bunch. They've had a bunch of exclusives. Did you not see any of them? 2 of their exclusives are 2 of the most sold games last month. I know it's hard to look that high on the chart if you're looking for your brand, but yeah, if you look all the way at the top of the sales chart, 2 of the top selling games are PlayStation exclusives. Helldivers 2 and Stellar Blade. Helldivers 2, Stellar Blade, Granblue Fantasy Relink, Final Fantasy Rebirth, Rise of the Ronin. Those are all PlayStation exclusive games. What do you mean? They've had 6 exclusive games in the first 5 months of the year. What's the other side done? I mean, if we're putting things on the scale, like what are we really measuring here? Did you just pay me $2 so that I could tell you the games that have come out? They've got some of the best-selling games this year. Helldivers sounds like something somebody cooked up in a fever. Granblue is not. Granblue Fantasy Relink was a console exclusive. Yes, it was. Helldivers 2 is a console exclusive. What are you talking about? Those are PlayStation exclusive games. I think you can get Granblue on PC, but Granblue Fantasy Relink is a console exclusive. See, this is the problem, is you're probably wanting to say, well, where are all the first-party PlayStation games? Nobody cares about that, except for people who are creating their own arbitrary scorekeeping. Do you really want to compare first-party exclusivity this gen? You really want to stack up who's done a better job? It's ridiculous. So you want to say, well, in the last 5 months, we can only look in the last 5 months, and if we only look in the last 5 months, Xbox has had a first-party exclusive and PlayStation hasn't. Well, let's look at the entire generation. Do you want to do that? Do you want to stack up all those games? What it's got to be one of the weirdest things I've ever seen people fixate on. It doesn't make any sense. Digital Foundry said that in a Eurogamer.net article, they said that Returnal's PC port is good, but it could be great. So, the person who made the claim that Digital Foundry referred to Returnal as one of the worst PC ports, that's not true. That is not an accurate thing. They didn't say that. They had issues, but they didn't call it one of the worst PC ports. The video was called Poor PC Ports Revisited. So they made a video called Poor PC Ports Revisited. And instead of going to the actual context and seeing what they specifically said, you're not going to acknowledge that they might have said, hey, this was a good port, but here were some things that we said should be fixed, and they've been fixed now. What did they say in the video? You made it sound like they described it as one of the worst PC ports in your original message. Maybe it was because you had limited chat, like there's limited characters. So I'll give you a pass on that. They don't describe it as one of the worst PC ports. It's good, could be great, and that video is likely them saying, listen, we're going to revisit Returnal. We had some issues. Did they fix these issues or not? I would imagine that's how they couch it. They gave it praise, but of its runtime, literally 40% of it was negativity. Oh, what's the point that you're trying to make? What's the point? That one of the PC ports had a rough start and has since been fixed. What's the point? What point are you making? Who cares about that? A PC port had some issues. Those issues have been fixed. The only issues they highlight, according to Eugene, are ray tracing on some of the on some processors. He super chatted again and said, Sony didn't make either one of those games. Okay. Listen, man. I can only say nobody cares so many times, but nobody cares. I actually think PlayStation did help with the development of at least two of them, right? I feel like they did help with Stellar Blade and Helldivers too, but who cares? Nobody cares. They're console exclusives. Like with Ninja Theory and Hellblade, right? I'm sure you want to give credit to Xbox for that, right? That's an Xbox W, isn't it? Isn't it? Go ahead. Go ahead. Call it an Xbox W. The first party game. It's being highly praised for its technical achievements. Okay. Do we get to lay Redfall at Xbox's feet? Do we? Do we get to lay Forza Motorsport at Xbox's feet? How those games launch, the review scores, the bugs, the glitches, all the missing features. Do we get to lay those games at Xbox's feet? Let's lay the W's at Xbox's feet, shall we? Let's do it. You're so concerned about, well, those games weren't made by PlayStation. Okay. Let's track the games that were made by PlayStation Studios, and let's track the games that were made by Xbox Studios, and let's have a contest. Zubair with a 2-spot. McDonald's didn't raise none of those cows. I love to see a super chat get a bunch of likes. A 2-spot from Bushin Ryukat says, Lono, you wearing a Life of Black Tiger shirt? No, I just absolutely love tigers. They're my favorite animals. This is from Into the AM. Isn't this a great shirt? Use code Lono at intotheam.com or go to intotheam.com/Lono. I just don't understand what's the point of, like, Creature says, you know who cares about first-party PlayStation exclusives, Cadence? Xbox players. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know why you care about this. I don't care who owns the studio. Like, does it change my enjoyment of Helldivers 2 knowing PlayStation owns the Helldivers IP? They don't own the studio, but they own the IP. Do I enjoy Helldivers 2 more than Rise of the Ronin? Because, well, PlayStation doesn't own the Rise of the Ronin IP. Do you see? Like, how does that adjust or change your enjoyment of a game? Does it change my enjoyment of Hellblade 2 because, oh, it's owned by Xbox? Does that change my enjoyment of that game? It doesn't. It doesn't even affect it. I played it on Steam. Like, I'm consistent. I don't care who owns the studio. That doesn't bother me at all. I obviously get concerned about Microsoft owning studios because I think Microsoft, not Xbox, I believe that Microsoft is acidic to creative process. I think Microsoft sucks at gaming. They're terrible at it. They ruin studios. And you're going to see that meet out, whatever you want to pronounce it. That's going to be coming out in the next couple of years. You're going to see the evidence of that. They're terrible. They are terrible for studios. I'm not talking about Xbox. I'm talking about Microsoft. That's the only time I get concerned about who owns the studio. After that, it's like, I don't care if PlayStation owns the studio or if PlayStation published the game. It doesn't matter to me. Stellar Blade is currently my favorite game of the year. Helldivers 2 is my second favorite game of the year. Third favorite game would be Prince of Persia, followed by Rise of the Ronin. It's been a really good year for games on PlayStation if you don't care who owns the studio. So, do you want to talk about how Sony funding developers saved Stellar Blade from being canceled? Yeah, I mean, we could talk about that. Stellar Blade is one of the top-selling games of the year already, and it wouldn't even exist if it wasn't for PlayStation stepping in and publishing the game. And you're not going to get a Hi-Fi Rush 2 because Microsoft went on a spending spree and had to close down a studio because their operating costs are too high now. Everybody was worried about Sony and PlayStation's operating costs. Like, the irony. The irony of everybody getting worried about PlayStation's operating costs because they amortize their purchase of Bungie, and people don't understand how that works. So instead of doing a lump sum, they spread it out over the course of a bunch of years that affects operating costs. Like, what in the world? Can we lay Forspoken at Sony's feet? No. Forspoken isn't from a first-party studio. Man, I'm sorry, bro. You're spending $2. You're real bad at this. You're real bad at this. Redfall and Forza Motorsport came from first-party studios. Good Lord, you're bad at this. Forspoken is not a first-party studio. I also think Forspoken launched in a far better state than Redfall and Forza Motorsport. Like, I didn't like Forspoken. I was very critical of it. I didn't even finish it. I thought it was a bad game. I did not like it at all. I was heavily critical of Forspoken. Forspoken's not a first-party studio. And Redfall literally launched in a broken, incomplete state. Forza Motorsport launched in a broken, incomplete state. They had to announce ahead of time that it would be missing features. It would be missing things. Like, come on, man. It's not even if Forspoken came from a first-party studio, if you think Forspoken is equal to Redfall, brother, Come on. A 5-spot from Rich Rod says, the Xbox fan base needs to grow up and realize their actions or inactions are half of the reason Xbox is going third party. Fool me once, fool me twice, you know. Forspoken should never be spoken of again. Yeah. I feel like Forspoken got decent reception, though. What did it score in the PlayStation Store? Like, what did it score with the users? Yeah, a 3.8. That's not terrible, but that's not very good. It basically has a 76, yeah. That's not a good score with the PlayStation audience. If you drop out of the 80% with the PlayStation audience, I consider that to be a low-scoring game. Most of the time, if you go to the PlayStation Store and you look at these stars, once you drop out of a 4, I'm like, okay, that game's probably got some issues. Generally speaking, the PlayStation games, they score pretty high over there. So when you drop down to like a 3.8 or like a 3.7, I'm like... Mash with 11 months in the VIP. As long as it's clear this guy does not represent anything beyond his view. I play on Xbox, he doesn't represent my views. Oh, I don't think he represents anybody other than maybe somebody clip hunting. Being an Xbox player is like Returnal. You wake up every time without anything. Come on. Thank you for the $5 super chat tip. Guys, we're so close to 500 likes on the video. Get us to 500 likes. We're doing just a whole bunch of topics today. We're all over the place. I walked through all of my predictions and expectations for the PlayStation State of Play, and now we're just kind of debating the two different platforms, their two different approaches and cadence of games. And somebody has been super chatting because they think that if PlayStation doesn't own the studio, the games don't count. Think about it like this. And this is why last year I got a bunch of hate for this. I got mocked for this. But I said the PlayStation Showcase was an L for those of us that are on Twitter and YouTube. And I said, for the rest of the gaming world, they don't care. And you saw the results, the revenue in June, the month after that showcase, the revenue in June for PlayStation, it all went up and in good directions. Why? Because they walked out and they told millions of people that you're on the right platform, a bunch of great games are coming. And all of those people couldn't tell you the difference between first, second, and third-party games. They don't know. They have no idea, okay? So I want you to imagine the vast majority of gamers who have purchased a PlayStation 5 looking at their options this year with respect to what are games that only I can get. They're winning handedly. I mean handedly. There are 6 console exclusives that have already come out in just 5 months' time compared to 1 console exclusive from Xbox. That's not even a competition at that point. That's a bludgeoning. And the one that Xbox got has a playtime of about 8 hours. Maybe, if you're taking your time. One game with clear time somewhere between 6 and 8 hours, and another platform has 6 console exclusives. What are we even talking about? Like, you guys that invoke these competitions, you invoke them and you don't even realize that. Oh, I'm forgetting Palworld. Sorry. Palworld is another console exclusive in early access for Xbox. Sorry. I forgot Palworld. And so did everybody else. I'm kidding. Palworld is in early access. I did not expect them to maintain a player base for very long. That's fair. There is 2. Do you have a Patreon as well as YouTube? We don't really use the Patreon, man. Yeah, the playtime on those PlayStation exclusives is crazy, dude. Crazy. I've got 80 hours in Helldivers. I've got 30 hours in Stellar Blade. I've got how long did it take me to beat Ronin? I want to say I'm in the 40 hours on Ronin. I can't remember. I don't know if the app will tell me. I think the PlayStation app will only tell me if I played it recently. And since I haven't played it recently, I don't think it shows me. If I go purchased, and I go to Rise of the Ronin, yeah, it won't show me. I don't get why they do that. Like, it won't show me my playtime in Rise of the Ronin unless I actively have played it recently. Thank you. So many new subscribers today. Holy cow. Nice to meet all of you. If you haven't hit subscribe yet, subscribing is totally free, and you can talk in my chat. I will be co-streaming the PlayStation State of Play this evening, so make sure you're subscribed with the bell button. Consider becoming a member. People have been gifting members. I currently owe you guys 25 gifted members. Let me give you guys a member count, because on the week, we had a little contest going. We always set a goal for the week, and you guys are currently, with the 127 today, you are at 459. You are literally 41 members away from the goal, and it's not even Friday. You guys could clear the goal before Friday. And then we'd have to come up with a stretch goal, because we've got to come up with a stretch goal. I think you guys can hit the goal today. We can get 41 members, and then all we need is like an extra 100, and then what do we make Creature do? Obviously, they've fallen far, but Power World still has a somewhat consistent player base. Yeah, I think people have exaggerated what, Power World losing players. It's an early access game. It's an early access game. Zubair says, hi, Lono. He says, hi, new people. This is Lono in a good mood. You can tell he's in a bad mood by whether he rage quits the stream and bans me again. I never did that. Lone Wolf with a gifted member. He says, how many do we need? 41? Make that 40. And then a 5-bomb comes in and takes it even lower and says, all right, we don't need 40. We need 35. Now we need 34 members, and we're at 134. Hyde, I missed your resub. I'm sorry. Let me go and get that. I'm sorry about that, Hyde. Hyde says, with 14 months in the VIP, he says, instead of paying the Piper pays you, Lono. That's right. Is this 500 subs total or for the week? For the week. For the week. Every week we set a goal. We start the month out low, and then we increase it each week because the incentives get better and better. So last week you guys hit a goal, and I had to play a PSVR2 game on Friday night that was scary, and then you guys hit the stretch goal, so my wife was allowed to mess with me while I was playing the game. It was hysterical. And Lone Wolf with another one, and he sets it up at 135. And a 5-bomb comes in from MASH and takes us to 140. When we get the announcements, the State of Play, my State of Play stream is going to be in about 6 hours from now. Wherever you are in the world, look at the clock, add 6 hours. I'm going to go live around that time, and then we're going to kind of wait. Now, if you get a membership, we're going to go to a member stream in a little bit here, and we're just going to hang out. We'll just do like a waiting room, I guess. Because I think that'll be helpful, just to have a group of people kind of chilling, and then I'll redirect you all. I'll have to make myself a description and a thumbnail. I didn't do that yet. I'll bring my laptop in here and do it while I hang out with you guys. Not been here for a while, usually working, but great to see how well you're doing, Lono. Keep up the great work. Thank you so much, Big John Riley. I appreciate that. She was funny. I enjoyed your wife. Yes, my wife is actually she's very quick-witted. She's very funny. And she usually roasts me up pretty good. That's another great reason to become a member. Right now, we have about 618 people paying for their own membership, okay? I want to set a goal. We need to come up with a really good goal that if we can get that number to 1,000, okay? If I can get about 380 of you to start paying for your own memberships and pick up your own membership. If we can get that number to 1,000, I want to do something crazy to celebrate that. That's a goal I think that's much different than gifting. I want to see more people jump in. We get that number to 1,000, and I don't know. We'll see. I had my husband watching your wife mess with you while the VR was on. She would rub her finger across your neck, and we would crack up. That was man, yeah. That was awful. I was screaming and jumping. It was bad. And there were a couple times where I thought I could hear her, and she wasn't doing anything. I was like, I can hear you. Does yellow mean I am? How do I know if I own my own membership? Are you paying every month? If you go to your account and you go to memberships, what is it? Payments and memberships? It'll show you what you're paying for. Like on the mobile, you just click on your own little logo, and then you go and you scroll down and you go to, wait, where the heck did they put it? No, I think you have to click the gear, and then you go to purchases and memberships. Yeah, like right now, I have premium and then an active membership. Oh, I still have an active membership to Gothics, like for like $2. I forgot that I did that. 1,000 subs and Lono goes skydiving. I thought we needed 80 today and tomorrow. I think it was like 85 or 86. I just said 80 generically, Haseo. That wasn't like a hard number. I think it was like 84.7 or something. I started watching Reforge when he had the green lights in the background. That's right. You have to break your Destiny ban while doing a Luke Smith cosplay. I can't get unbanned in that game. They won't even tell me why I was. I'm my own member. Let's go. There you go. A really easy way to ensure that you're paying for your own membership is just bump up to Member Plus. It'll take you out of the $5 member pool. It'll take you out of the gifted pool. And then I can go on the back end and just add those two together and be like, okay, this is how many people are paying for their own membership. We got to think of a really good incentive for that, because that'll make more room. I want to see some new folks. I like seeing new folks get those white badges and get in, and they get to sample the new content. I'm gonna buy a new membership soon. I appreciate that. Thank you, Velo. I wish I could pay my own, but I do not have a lot of money. Well, Matt Gall, that's exactly why I'd love to see more people do it. I know there are people that can't, and that ensures you're always going to get a gifted every month if more people start picking up their own and paying for their own. It's like gifting a membership to somebody else. If you're currently on a gifted and you start paying for your own membership, that's like gifting a member to somebody else. You're basically getting out of the way and letting somebody else get the gifted. I play on PlayStation 5. I'm just not a pony. You play on PlayStation 5. You're just not a pony. Okay. I mean, I'm assuming that you think I am a pony by the way that you've spoken to me, and I know a lot of people do think I'm a pony. I admit willingly all of the time that my preference is now to play on PlayStation because I believe they've done a better job this generation. I don't know why that makes me a pony. I've been incredibly dissatisfied and disappointed in Xbox's decisions this gen. Does that make me a pony? I've seen plenty of Xbox fans that have been very, very angry this gen. Are they ponies now? Like, I don't get that. Von Raz says, Lono, give me another year. I'll be done with school, and then I'll be able to pay. That's fine, Vaughn. You the man. Patrick Q gifts a member. Thank you so much. Lono's a PC guy? Not really. I literally feel like people use pony now. They literally just use it when they don't like what you're saying. That's when they invoke it. It's like, I don't like what you're saying. You're a pony. Like, I know there are pony channels. I do. I know there are pony channels. There are pony Twitter accounts. And they absolutely love to gallop around and neigh and just celebrate anything bad that happens to Xbox. I think that's the difference. Have you ever seen me celebrate any of the stuff happening to Xbox? Have you ever seen me celebrate it? I'm always angry. I'm always ticked off. I'm not celebrating. That doesn't, I'm not like, yeah! That's the difference between me and the pony channels and me and the pony Twitter accounts. It's like they literally cheer when Xbox missteps and I get ticked off. I'm like, what the frick are you guys doing? Why did you do this? What did I call the Xbox Series S? I said it's a self-made Trojan horse. It's a self-made Trojan horse. It's gonna completely sabotage them this gen, and it has. They've made third-party developers not want to develop for them. They call me a pony and I embrace it. I chose the winning side to be on. I mean, it's hard not to fault somebody for being a front runner. Like, why not choose the winning side? You'll probably get more stuff. You'll get more games. I get that. The anger comes from passion, at least with some folks. If that goes away, the next thing is apathy, which is by far a worse sentiment Xbox could ever want their players to have. With Sea of Thieves doing well on PS5, do you think they bring bigger franchises to the PS5? Yes. Yes. And I think people downplayed this, Big John Riley, and I covered this yesterday. I think Doom being multi-plat, but also being announced at the showcase as a multi-plat, I think that's a far bigger development than people are giving it credit for. I do. I think that's far weightier than people are giving it credit. Because, again, and this is why I retold the story, I said, listen, don't do revisionist history here. The trajectory of ZeniMax property was, Microsoft tells the regulators we'll do case-by-case basis. Phil Spencer goes into a meeting in 2021 and says all ZeniMax property is now an Xbox exclusive. And it was so sweeping that Matt Booty and the CFO Tim Stewart had a conversation about it. That's how sweeping the decision was. And they have since completely gone back on that. That's significant. It's not just a matter of we're going to be taking games that are older like Sea of Thieves and giving them the PlayStation. It's no. These games will not launch as exclusives. They're going to launch as multiplats. They were previously going to launch everything as an exclusive from ZeniMax. And I think everybody's just hand-waving that. They're like, well, Doom was always going to be a multi-plat. I'm like, but no, it wasn't. Like, you guys all defended ZeniMax property being exclusives. You guys sauntered around and strutted around because it was like, well, they own it. They can do whatever they want with it. Because a bunch of us said Microsoft lied to the regulators. They said case by case, and then Phil walked in the room and said everything's an exclusive. That's not case by case. And I was told to suck it, Pony, and cope, Pony. They can do whatever they want, Pony. And it's like, but now you're saying Doom was always going to be a multi-plat. Well, which is it? Because last year, that wasn't what we were told. And that wasn't what that audience thought. A 5-spot from Rissick. I'd rather be a Pony than have some guys telling me to wait until. Which email showed that Bethesda developers did not want exclusivity for their products? I don't know if there was any emails that showed they didn't want it, but there was definitely an email from Pete Hines where he was ticked off. He was ticked off. Ginger says, that was frustrating to me. I kept saying they need to put their games everywhere. Like, you remember that, right, Ginger? Like, they were all celebrating the fact that, like, nope, ZeniMax properties exclusive. You want to play those games? Get an Xbox. That's what we were told. And now it's, oh, Doom was always going to be a multi-plat. Oh, for Pete's sakes. It's like trying to nail Jell-O to the wall. It's like they're like an amoeba. Like they don't ever keep the same shape. It's like their viewpoint and their thoughts on stuff's never consistent. It's like, what in the world are we talking about here? This was going to be an exclusive. It was. Data play leak looks boring. What's up with Sony? We need a showcase. I feel something happened internally. I don't trust those leaks. We get showcase leaks all the time, and state of plays are always a lot more measured and not hugely like bombastic. There'll also be some announcements I'm sure they're going to save for Summer Game Fest, and I think their showcase is going to be later in the year, and I think they're going to save a lot for it. They are. That they're going to announce the PS5 Pro, and they're going to have. I think we'll finally see the largest amount of first-party announcements will be at that showcase. Ginger says you can go watch a Destin video from when that happened and then watch it now side by side. It's hilarious. I'm literally biting my entire tongue off about him. I'll just say this. I am thoroughly enjoying people who completely bumbled and fumbled something that was destructive to my life in 2020. I love watching all of them be seen for what they are. I think it's fabulous. It's a form of justice. It's exactly what should happen to people that don't handle their platform properly and they don't handle reporting properly. especially when it pertains to someone's livelihood and their life and their family. Everybody's getting exactly what they deserve. They're all being seen for what they are, and it's beautiful. There's a bunch of them, and it's freaking glorious. Last day to play, we saw Helldivers 2, Stellar Blade, so I felt they really knocked the last months out of the park. They did one in January that was like, it had like 9 exclusives in it, Ginger. I was like, I don't know why anybody was upset about that one. I don't know why anybody was upset about that one. They had 9 exclusives, and then they did another state of play just for Final Fantasy. That was a 10th exclusive. Supremacy with the $10 Super Chat tip says, this year may seem like a down year for PlayStation exclusives. PlayStation first-party exclusives, you mean. But that's a good thing. It gives the new IPs a chance to succeed, because next year they would stand much worse of a chance versus what's on the horizon. I absolutely love that perspective, Supremacy. The idea that everybody's like really upset that PlayStation first party is being quiet and taking their time. Don't you prefer that? Don't you prefer that? We get quality games from those studios, and there's a reason. They take their time. They're not committed to some cadence that must be met. What have you received from Xbox first party? Because they're committed to a first-party cadence of a big game every 4 months. Well, what did you get? Last year you got Hi-Fi, High Praise, Redfall, Disaster, Starfield, very mediocre mid-level scores from the user base, and then Forza Motorsport, another disastrous launch with terrible scores. Quit running the Metacritic. Look at what the users are saying, the people who actually played the game and bought the game. Terrible scores. So, to me, it's like, would you prefer that? Would you prefer that? Would you prefer that PlayStation force their studios to push out games before they're ready? Or let them cook? Let them have their time. I would much rather have a year like this year where they lean on third-party games or second and first-party... I'm sorry, not first-party. They would lean on third-party and second-party exclusives that they're either publishing or paying for. I'd rather have them do that and let the first-party studios cook than do whatever the frick Xbox is doing. Which would you prefer? Like, would you rather wait, or would you rather get games at a rhythm and then nobody plays them and they have terrible scores? Like, look at the completion percentages on achievements on all those Xbox games. They're all terrible. Cadence doesn't matter if the quality isn't there. Who cares? Like, I can give you tons of food really, really quickly, and if it's all undercooked, are you going to want to eat it? Rabbit with a $5 super chat tip says, my favorite line from Lono ever is, it's time to stop holding the line and start drawing some. Yeah, and that guy got attacked for that. I got attacked for that. It's like, why don't you stop holding the line and start drawing some? I mean it. I mean it. And you want to attack me and come after me and bring up a bunch of nonsense and lies about me from 2020. Yeah. Some of those people showed their true colors. Predator with 39 months on the VIP. Still playing Ronin. Still have Rebirth and Stellar Blade to play. Dude, Ronin takes a while. That's a dense game. Supremacy with a $5 super chat tip says, even if one can lay Forsaken at Sony's feet, I mean, I think you meant to put Forspoken, that only highlights that there are more of these blunders elsewhere per capita. I have 6 kids, so I'm very good at waiting for things because it's built into my daily life. Wait and let them cook. Bolt saying he was against the ABK deal after the studio closings was wild. Well, I mean, he's cherry-picking a time where he did say that. There was a time where he got fed up with how long it was taking, and I really do believe this happened. There was a time where he got fed up, and he said, just pull out, cut your losses, and invest this money in the studios. Because I remember being like, I said that a couple months before, and I got ridiculed for it. I remember distinctly him saying that because I said, and it's a clip on Twitter, I said if I were in charge, I would take that $70 billion, I would invest it in my studios, I would get them off the 18-month contractual policies that has constant attrition of talent and constant attrition of shared knowledge and institutional solidity. I would get rid of that and invest it in my studios so I could make great games. And there was a time where a lot of the Xbox guys were so fed up with that trial. They were fed up with how long the ABK acquisition was taking. They were like, this is just a giant distraction. Pull out of this deal and start focusing on games. So, yes, there was a time where he said that, but he was 100% cheering for it and wanted to have it happen, and he celebrated when it finally went through. So, yes, he's not being completely misleading. There was a time where I'm confident I remember seeing this clip where he was like, this is a waste of time. Get out. This is so stupid. Start focusing on games. I believe it was during the FTC trial, or it might have been when the CMA... I can't remember the timeline. It might have been when the CMA blocked because they were worried about cloud. And I think that's when a lot of the Xbox guys were like, just walk away. This is a joke. This is taking too long. Like, let's get back to what matters. Let's get to making games. It's obviously sleight of hand to be like, well, I was against the deal. It's like, well, no, you weren't. You were for it, celebrated, and you wanted it to happen. You just got exhausted and ticked off at one point and said, let's just walk away from this. He didn't say, it wasn't a principled position of, let's walk away from this deal because it's going to lead to studio foreclosure or this is going to be bad for the industry. It wasn't principled. It was exhaustion. It was like, can we just stop this nonsense and invest in the studios? So, you know, I'm trying to be fair, but I'm also being like holistic here, like big picture. It wasn't a principled position of being against the acquisition like so many of us were. We were against it from a principled position. It was like, this is bad. These types of things are never good for the consumer. It's never good for the employee. It leads to layoffs. It'll lead to studio foreclosure. This will be bad. You'll have less talent in the industry. You'll have less games coming to market. And the games that continue to come to market and actually still come, they're already coming anyway. It's not going to be additive to the market. It'll be subtractive. And it has been. It has been. I'm fine with the acquisition because I've always believed Xbox is going to put their games everywhere. Right, and I don't think that's a good enough reason to be good with the acquisition. I don't think there's enough nuance to that position. I believe that position's too reductionist. You're reducing value down to, well, if the games are everywhere, that's consumer value. I don't align with that at all. I don't align with that at all. I want consumer value to be delivered in high quality games. And I don't believe putting games everywhere leads to high quality games. I believe it leads to quality degradation. We've seen evidence of this across the board. We've heard this from developers time and time again. Jez Corden himself just said that there will still be timed Xbox exclusives because there are developers who don't want to build for all platforms. They would prefer to build for one. It's a very, very common piece of feedback. So I don't think reducing consumer value down to, well, if the game's everywhere, that's a consumer value. It's like, well, that could be subjectively, according to the consumer, a consumer value. But it's only a consumer value if you don't want to buy another console. If you're willing to buy another console, that value erodes and evaporates into thin air. It's like, if I'm willing to buy if I'm willing to buy the other console, then that value point erodes. Elden Ring says hello. The exception to the rule doesn't prove any. The exception to the rule proves the rule. And Elden Ring had glitches and bugs when it came out. I'm not saying everywhere day and date, just FYI. I think games making their way to other platforms is completely worthy of celebration. I don't back it ideologically. I don't think it needs to go everywhere. Because I said this the other day. If you believe games should literally go everywhere because consumers should not have to buy other platforms, when is it okay to stop? When is it okay to draw the line and say no? When? That's my question to somebody with your position. Like, when is it okay to say, we're not putting this game on that platform or that platform? When is a developer allowed to say that? When are they allowed to limit the scope of a game's reach? At what point is that okay? I would like an answer to that, because I genuinely want to know. Someone who holds this position that thinks games should go everywhere, when is it acceptable for a developer to say, we will not go to that platform? I'm curious. Games going to every console will never happen. I agree with you. That's always their right. No. I'm not asking if it's their right, Ginger. I'm saying if you ideologically believe that exclusives, I'm not saying you believe this, but I believe this is what drives some of your position. If you believe that exclusives are anti-consumer, at what point is it okay for a developer to say we aren't going to be on that platform? When is it acceptable? When is it no longer anti-consumer, or is it always anti-consumer? I'm okay with Walmart buying up companies because Walmart will put stores everywhere. Doesn't sound good, right? Right. Create your own studios and manage them correctly, unlike Perfect Dark, in which I predict will be another catastrophic failure and subsequently the final nail in the coffin. I wouldn't be surprised, Saint, if some of those projects just never even see the light of day, if they're truly troubled. Now, we've heard an update that Perfect Dark is in better shape. It's always acceptable for the dev to have that choice. So, Ginger, do you believe that exclusives are anti-consumer? It doesn't change my view of wanting gamers to have access to games. But they do have access to games. They might just have to buy a Nintendo Switch 2 if they want to play the latest Nintendo game. They have access to that. They can buy it. No one's preventing them from buying it. If the barrier is simply an unwillingness to spend money, that's not that. No one's keeping them from getting that game. All gamers have access to all games. You just have to be willing to spend the money. I have access to every motor vehicle in the state that I live in. I can go buy any of the cars that are here. No one's preventing me from doing that. My ability or willingness to spend money might, but no one's stopping me from going and buying an Audi. My bank account and my current available line of credit might prevent me from doing it. But no one's stopping me and saying, hey, you can't buy that. Like, I'm always curious on this. I'm not talking out of both sides of my mouth. What did P-Dub sound? You're talking about sides? Yeah, I don't think he's talking out of both sides of his mouth. He's saying they have a right to say no to a platform, but he has a desire for games to be everywhere. Right? Exclusives are not anti-consumer. If you foolishly choose to only play on Xbox, you choose your own library or lack thereof. I'm sick and tired of the consumer not being held accountable. Yeah, P-Dub H-Town, I don't think Ginger's talking out of both sides of his mouth. He can say, listen, he can hold what would be like more of like, it would probably be like almost like a libertarian view, that every business has the right to say, no, we don't want to do that. We don't want to make a game for that platform. But he can, in the next breath, say, I would really like it if more games were everywhere. He has a desire, but he doesn't. He's not saying my desire dictates the businesses, what the business being coerced. They must. He's like, no, yeah, they have the right to say no. They have the right to only make their game for one platform. He has the internal desire of saying, but I would really like it if they made their game everywhere. Do you see the difference? He can say, well, I'd love it if you put your game everywhere, but I don't think you should be forced to. I think that's a pretty balanced view. I don't agree with him, but I would say that's a balanced view. I think that's emotionally healthy to say, I have a desire, something I would like to see happen, but I don't want you to be forced to do it. libertarian views are a pipe dream and are not realistic. I'm just saying it's a more libertarian view to say it's a more hands-off view to business, like let the business do what it wants. I'm not saying like full-on libertarian, like let's not regulate at all. I'm not getting into that discussion. I'm just saying his view is more of a don't force the company to do it, which you would find more commonly in like a libertarian view. I'm not saying the entirety of the libertarian view is like a viable view of governance and an economy. I think they have ideas that could help, but you wouldn't want to do like blank check, I don't think you'd want to do blank check libertarianism. Like all views, I think they bring good to the table, but not everything they bring to the table is good. Do you think the FTC will intervene again if Microsoft pushes a Steam buy? Microsoft's not pushing for a Steam buy, and I don't think they'd be allowed to buy them. Third-party sales more on PlayStation than exclusives anyway. Why they get so pumped up for exclusives that barely hit 10 million? That barely hit 10 million. Spider-Man 2 sells 11 million copies during a time which there was only roughly 50 to 60 million PlayStation 5s available. Like a 20% attach rate. Barely sell 10 million. Some of you guys have got to start watching better content creators, bro. Spider-Man 2 is still in the top 20 most sold games this year. What is it, like 16 or something? It's like 16th place. Oh my gosh. Like a 20% attach rate. Oh my gosh. Oh my word. I don't even take these positions seriously where I just laugh. It's just absurd. It's a joke. It's like you're not even, it's not, it's just worthy of mockery and derision. It's just stupid. So you barely sell 10 million. Come on, man. Jiminy Christmas. How much does Madden 2K and COD sale, though? How much do long-standing multi-plat franchises sell in comparison to a console exclusive that's only available to roughly 50 million consumers? That's like going to a local business that really is just killing it, and they're making tons of money and be like, yeah, well, how many cheeseburgers do you sell in comparison to McDonald's, though? It's like McDonald's is like a global franchise. It's in like practically every country in the world. You'd be like, you're going to flex McDonald's on your local mom and pop burger joint. You know what I'm saying? Like, they sold Spider-Man on one platform, and it sold incredibly well. And you want to compare it to monolithic multi-platform franchises. Oh. Did you? Golly. Jiminy Christmas. I was just going to say, some multiplats can't even hit 10 million. Right? I remember when Final Fantasy 16, also only available on one platform, hit 3 million, and people were like, womp womp, what a flop. Didn't Dragon's Dogma 2 like just hit 3 million? And it's a multi-plat game? PC, Xbox, and PlayStation. 3 million. Guess it flopped. And I'm sure the budget for Dragon's Dogma 2, I'm sure that budget was smaller than Final Fantasy 16. That's why I said you have to stop listening to people that don't know what they're talking about. Final Fantasy 16 was a flop. Spider-Man 2, it didn't do very well. You know? It's in the top 20 of a year it didn't launch in. How many months has it been out? And it's still in the top 20. 10 million. Does Madden hit 10 million on PlayStation? I would say easily, but exclusives are so important, right? I really don't understand your point other than that you don't know what you're talking about. Truly. You're also in here on a 4-month-old account. So you're just some coward on an alt who either got banned or you don't have the stones to come in here on your real account. Right? So you're either somebody who got banned and pathetically wants to come back and engage, so you made a new account, or you're a coward who won't come in here on your real account. In either case, you're not worth our time. Astro has 100% attach rate. It's no Zelda Breath of the Wild. Anything less than 100% attach rate is now considered a failure. Spider-Man 2 didn't do well. Final Fantasy 16 was a flop. Meanwhile, excuses get made for Hellblade 2 clearly not selling. Yeah, I mean, well, listen, I want to be fair to Ninja Theory. Like Hellblade 2 is never going to be a knockdown, drag-out chart topper. It's not going to. It's a niche game. It's on Game Pass. Like, they barely marketed it. And, I mean, I didn't expect that. A big game like Final Fantasy 16 or Spider-Man 2, if they don't sell well, that is a problem if they don't sell well. Because the market spend on those games, production costs on those games, they better sell well or there's trouble, right? So I don't think Hellblade 2, not selling well is really worth as like well, let's throw mud back. Like that was to be expected. If anybody thought Hellblade 2 was going to be some chart-topping, insane selling game, I just don't think it was even in a position to be that. Even if they marketed it like crazy, it wouldn't have mattered. The narrative now is that Hellblade isn't a AAA game. What do you mean? It's not a AAA game. It's not. That's like a 100-person studio. What do you mean? And it was never. The first game isn't AAA, and I knew the second game wasn't going to be AAA. I was expecting an 8 to 10 hour game that expanded upon the first, and it didn't do that. Microsoft used Hellblade to debut their next-gen console. Don't tell me there weren't huge expectations. Well, now hang on a minute. Hang on. I'm trying to be fair to Hellblade. Hellblade 2 was marched out as a display of the next gen's power. That first trailer said it was being made for the Series X, which is a frickin' lie. That game wasn't made for the Series X. Nothing is made for the Series X. Okay? So you want to go back and give them grief about that, you go right ahead. But they never walked Hellblade 2 out as it was going to be like this monumental AAA game. It was walked out as this is going to be a game that's going to show off the power of the Series X in glorious 30 FPS. Anyways, like, I don't think it's fair to Ninja Theory or that game to be like, oh yeah, it was expected to be a big seller in a AAA game. No, it wasn't. It was never positioned in that way. Never. I think there might have been interviews where they talked about a AA game with AAA quality, which, from a graphics perspective, Ninja Theory's hitting above their weight class. Credit where credit is due. Like Ninja Theory and Hellblade 2, they are hitting above their weight class. That is a gorgeous game. John Linneman from Digital Foundry seems to think that Death Stranding 2 is better looking, and I agree with him. I think Decima got wizardry in it. It's got pixie dust in it. I don't know what the frick they're doing. Like the Insomniac proprietary engine and the Decima engine, they're great engines. He blocks people for giving opinions if he doesn't agree with them. No, that simply isn't true. I've disagreed with plenty of people on Twitter. I'll sit here and go round and round with people and disagree with them all of the time on this channel. The only people who get blocked here or blocked on Twitter are people who attack me. Like the fact that people can't see the difference between like disagreement or maybe joking around and attacking me. The inability to see that is a lack of emotional maturity. You can't see the difference between being an uncouth or unkind caveman and just having a disagreement. Your inability to see that probably leads to all sorts of frustration in life, like getting fired from your job or not having a lot of friends, because you don't have the emotional maturity to see that you're an unpleasant person or you're unkind or you're rude. PWH Town says he's disagreeing with me and I'm not blocked. I disagree with people all day long. Like, what I do doesn't work if I only block people who disagree with me. Everybody who tries to say that this is an echo chamber, the reason they're saying that is because they're too stupid to engage in a conversation without resulting to insults. They lack the intelligence. They lack the emotional maturity. So they come in, they're rude, they're unkind, they name call, and then they get banned or blocked, and they're like, well, that guy just blocks people who disagree with them. It's like, no, you get blocked if you come in and act like a belligerent, immature child who can't engage in a conversation without hurling insults or attacking someone's integrity. I've had knockdown, drag-out arguments with Ginger, my producer, long-standing members here. It's part of the charm of this channel, is that you can come in and you can get in the ring and you want to go round and round and round with me. I will box you for 45 minutes on a subject. But if you can't do that without being a jerk, your inability to just be an adult, that's your own shortcoming. You also block chronic liars. Yeah, I also have a very, very strong allergy to dishonest people. I don't like dishonest people because they ruin people's lives, and they're awful. I have a very strong allergy to dishonest people. I don't want to see you in my timeline if you're just a consistent false framing liar. I don't have any interest in seeing what you have to say. Like, your integrity's got to be this high to ride this ride. I don't have any interest in you. You can call it satire or a character all you want. It's just cruelty veiled as a joke. I never heard Lono drop a personal attack debate in an argument, and I think Lono does that really well. Yeah. I mean, if I say somebody is being stupid or ignorant, that's about the farthest I'll go, and it's usually because what they're saying is, a lot of times what I've tried to do recently is I'll say, what you're saying is stupid. What you're saying is ignorant. I won't say, you're stupid. I'll say, what you're saying is stupid. Like, I'm attacking... I'm going to wail on your argument. I do my absolute best not to wail on the person. It's really difficult in the heat of the moment to not react emotionally, but I do my absolute best to say, what you're saying is ridiculous or uninformed or incorrect or wrong. I try to attach all those quality judgments to the argument and not to the person. Now, sometimes I'll be like, you don't know what you're talking about. You need to go do some research. But again, that's fair. You're a Scorpio. Disingenuous people are our bane. True SSJ said he just had a huge debate argument with Doc Dark 2 days ago. It ended amicably. Because Doc is a man. I can get in the ring and wail on somebody if they're a man. If you can't take it, that's your own shortcoming. Get in the ring. I don't care. I love it. I love disagreeing. It's fun. It's fun. I'll call someone a coward or a liar, but yeah, that's as far as I go. Yeah, I mean, I'll call a spade a spade. I'll call a spade a spade. A lot of people that have come after me and consistently come after me, they are just cowards, liars, and smear merchants. And that's, looks, if you want to wear that pair of shoes, that's your choice. I didn't attack anybody. I didn't go out and call anybody names or put them in my content and mock them and mock what they believe or how they handle their life. I've never done that to a single person. Like John Rambo, the great poet, said, they drew first blood. If you want to draw first blood and then I call you what you are, if that hurts your fifis, I don't know, maybe don't swing at everybody on the internet all the time. Like if it's really bothersome to be called a smear merchant or a coward, then don't be one. It's not hard to be an honest person. It really isn't. It takes more efforts to be consistently dishonest and false frame. That takes so much mental energy. Yo, good morning, feed. What arguments have you lost? I mean, I would say over the years, I usually only pick an argument if I know I can win, right? I'm a bit of a... It's like a boxer always choosing to go up against somebody they know they can beat. I also really research my view. I really establish what I think on facts and truth. So there's a lot beneath what I'm saying. Usually when I come to the table with something, I've done a ton of research. I've really looked into it. I've thought a lot about it. So there's all this confidence and there's all this swagger in my approach to the conversation because it's like, I know I'm right. I looked into this. Like, that's where I think a lot of people are like, well, he's arrogant, he's a know-it-all. And it's like, well, yeah, if you take the time to research something and you know you're standing on firm ground, you're going to have some swagger. He lost the sunsetting stuff. I didn't lose the sunsetting argument, creature. They misled us. The sunsetting that I defended and the sunsetting they described would have worked. It would have worked. I'll go to my grave. I didn't lose that argument. They sold us a bunch of bull. That was not how sunsetting was supposed to work. Lono doesn't have strong opinions on things he doesn't understand. He'll defer to those with expertise. Yeah, you will find me saying that all the time. I'm like, I don't have any idea. I don't know. I don't know about that. You're going to ask somebody else. Like, I'm the quickest person to be like, yep, I don't know about that. Yes, you did. It's why I'm here. I made a video that said sunsetting went too far. And in that video, I said, this is not the sunsetting that they described to us. Yo, MASH with the 5-bomb. Thank you so much. To this day, if they would have done... I miss this argument. This was always fun. If they would have done sunsetting the way that they described it, it would have worked. It would have worked. They didn't do it right. They went way too far. It was stupid. I was the first person to turn around and was like, what the frick are you guys doing? This isn't what you said you were going to do. Hey, I'll give you this one. When Eugene said it's not the Ikelos shotgun, it's the rapid-fire shotguns that are the problem, I gave him his flowers later. I was like, he was right. He was right. That's the real issue. I have 100% changed my position on things because somebody makes a very compelling argument or they win. I'm like, I was wrong. You guys were right. I won't back down to the sunsetting thing. They did it wrong. They did us so wrong because they had guys out me saying, I was out there on the front line saying, this is going to be good. I think this is going to work, you know? And then because I remember saying, if they do it in this way, this is going to be really good. And then they didn't do any of the things that they said. It was like, wait a minute, this isn't how you guys described it at all. What's sunsetting? It's where they no longer let you level up a gun in Destiny, basically meaning the gun has been sunset and it's now gone. I made you test that on stream. Yeah, you made me. I had like another rapid fire shotgun, Eugene. It was like a green one, wasn't it? I forget the name of it. I had a green one and you're like, yeah, try that one. And I tried it and I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, it's literally a broken damage cadence. It's just like clunk, 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 clunk. It's like, well, everything's going to die from that. It was too much damage too quickly. They reversed sunsetting recently? Yeah. I was one of the first people to walk out and say they went too far. This is not the sunsetting that they described. I wish I still had that video, Eugene, so that we could go back and watch it. And I could say, look, I was consistent in my position. To the bitter end, I said, if they would have done sunsetting the way they described it, it would have worked. I clutched that to the grave. I was like, they didn't do this the correct way. They didn't do it right. And they had to walk it back. And then everybody got to run around and gloat and say, see, we told you that sunsetting was a stupid idea. And I was like, but they didn't even do it the proper way. That's what was so frustrating about it. You know, it's that to me was what was frustrating about it. What do you think about the last Shape launch trailer? I didn't watch it. I don't cover that game anymore, so I don't pay any attention to it. Mess up by sunsetting weapons and then just making them drop next season. Like what? Yeah, that's exactly right. They didn't do it properly. It was like they literally did the thing that they weren't supposed to do. And then everyone's like, see, we told you it wasn't going to work. And it's like, yeah, because they literally did the thing that they weren't supposed to do. That was so dumb. A Different Era with 16 months says, I played PlayStation more. I have no dog in the fight. I love all the games. I may be ill-informed, but some argue Xbox has been over PlayStation at times. Since when? It's never been. Like, has there ever been a time where they've surpassed them? Guys, very quickly. Yeah, I will pre-order a PlayStation 5 Pro as soon as I possibly can, yes. Very quickly, could we get 30 more likes on the video? Let's get 600 likes. In about 10 minutes, we're going to go to the writer's room. It's basically going to be, we'll probably just hang out for the afternoon in writer's room with members, and then we'll go to the State of Play at 5:30. I think that makes sense. I don't have anything to do. I might bring my PlayStation in here and play some games with you guys or something. But let's get a couple more here, and then I will owe you guys a crispy, what do I owe you guys? 20, 25, 30. I'll owe you guys 30 members. So let's round this out at 150. You guys have absolutely crushed it. You're not even going to need that many members tomorrow. Let me give you a total count. Let's just imagine that hits 150. If that hits 150, 176, 125, and 31, you guys are only going to need 18 members tomorrow to hit the goal of 500 on the week. So the Foam Star stream with Creature is basically on lock. Like, you guys have got that. That's not even a doubt. You need less than the 25 that we almost get every single day tomorrow. Sony messed up huge today with the final Shape leak. Yeah, how did that even happen? That seems like I read it. I read that. I was like, wait, what? I was like, oh my gosh. That's the last thing they need, by the way. Like, that can really, really hurt a game's sales. What is this Astro game? Blade of the Monolith is on sale right now. It looks cool. What is this game? It came out today. It's an action-adventure 3D RPG. Rip through hordes of enemies in Fury and style. This fast-paced action RPG plays Astro, a young warrior. Yeah, this actually looks pretty good. Looks pretty cool. Hopefully it does well. It was on my wish list from one of those presentations, I think. And a single gifted from JC. He says, come on, boys. 4 members is all we need. Let's get it. And we just need 19 more likes to have 600 likes. Thanks for the strong turnout. I hope a bunch of you guys hit subscribe. I hope I see a bunch of you here tonight when we co-stream the PlayStation State of Play. We had a rollover on the sub count today. Just awesome. Thank you guys so much. Yeah, something happened with Shadow of the Erd Tree too, I saw. I still don't get how Hellblade 2 is hitting above its class. Assume Parasite. You don't understand what I'm saying when I say, I'm going to say it again. I think Ninja Theory is hitting above their weight class. They're a really small studio and they have one of the best looking games in the market. That doesn't, you don't agree with me? You don't agree that like 100-person studio putting together a game, getting that level of praise from Digital Foundry, like that's not hitting above their weight class? Yo, Ian says, great show today, Reforge. Made the morning. Can't wait for the state of play tonight. Definitely want to catch more shows. Keep debunking the lies and fighting in gaming. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Hit that like button. Yep, we need 16 more. And there's a gifted from Lone Wolf. We're going to slow walk this all the way to 150. I'm going to owe you guys 30 members. Another one from Lone Wolf. Here, I'll make you guys a deal. You guys have 6 minutes, okay? 6 minutes. If you hit 200 members, I would only owe you 40. I'll drop a 50 bomb if you guys can just scramble. There it is. There's the 150. Thank you, Lone Wolf. If you guys scramble, this is going to be a crazy one, but if you guys scramble and get that to 200, I'll drop a 50 bomb. I'll just boom, and then we'll go to members. We'll hang out before this state of play. You got 6 minutes to do it. JC's the Agents of Chaos. He says, all right, let's get it started. If you guys can get this to 200 members, then I will drop a 50 bomb. I'm just going to put 200. Let's just see if we can do it. Let's just see. You're doing a great job. Thank you. I appreciate that. Digital Foundry was fair with this game. They talk about the problems while praising it from a technical aspect. I don't think they hit above their weight class. I expected them to have good fidelity based on their videos. And a 20 bomb from MASH! He says, we are going to get there quick with my help. Goodness frickin' gracious. 171 and PWH Town with a 10 bomb takes us to 181. Let's get it. Unbelievable. I throw down the gauntlet and you guys don't even give me a chance to schedule the writer's room. Awesome work. I am going to schedule, I'm not even going to call it a writer's room. I'm going to call it a let's see, reuse. I'm going to say state of play waiting room. Come hang while we wait for the PlayStation state of play. And a 10 bomb from Cardock Ren. He takes us to 191. You guys are getting your 50 bomb. Gee, many frickin' Christmas. And a 20 bomb from Charles Freeman. He takes us to 111. But that 111 becomes a 112 because of Soul Train. He believes. I'm sorry, 212. 212. Unbelievable. Monstrous. State of play waiting room. Let me change the thumbnail to Reforge Refuge. Wait, do we have a state of play waiting room thumbnail lying around somewhere? I feel like we did. No. I should have made one. That's on me. And a single from Catwalk. Thank you so much. 213, 214, Joker Quinn. You guys aren't stopping. Unreal. Okay, monetization, members, visibility. I'm going to set it to private. Digital Lot Creature talking to a duck. Oh, you guys got it. It's over. You guys got the goal. Now we need a stretch goal. Like if you guys, the goal was 500. If you guys hit 600, we need a stretch goal. We got to do something. We got to make this man just absolutely miserable. It's going to be great. We got to go though. I don't like these streams getting longer than 3 hours. No, that's not going to work. Hang on, I'm in the wrong stream. Customization, redirect. Wait. Oh, it's set to private. Hang on. Members only. Save. All right. And I'm going to have to refresh the back end. I can't see anything. Make it 300 even. You guys want 300 even? Oh, come on. We don't need that. We need to get out of here, though. We're at 258. I don't want to hit 3 hours. There we go. Let me give you guys a link. Oh, I owe you a 50 bomb. Oh my gosh, let me do the 50 bomb very quickly. 50 bomb, 50 bomb, 50 bomb, 50 bomb, 50 bomb. Come on, 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 come on. We gotta get out of here. We gotta get out of here. Boom. There we go. There you go. All right, I'm gonna spam a link in chat. We're gonna get the heck out of here. Try to click on the link as best you can. I made a cluster of them because the members are just gonna go until we're done. All right. All right. Thanks so much for being a member. You may have gotten a membership. Humongous day on the channel. I dropped a 50 bomb at the end of that stream. I dropped a 50 bomb of members, 200 of. We secured foam stars for Friday night. Don't miss that. Also, State of Play tonight. This is the waiting room for the PlayStation State of Play. I'm going to end that stream, and I'm going to bring people over on a redirect. I'm going to wait about as long as I can, though, because I dropped that 50 bomb. I want all those members to hit as best I can. So I'm going to end that stream when it gets to 259 and probably 45. So I'm going to give another 15 seconds to ensure that all 50 members get in. Mooch got one. Wow, everybody's getting members. And I'm going to wait 3 more seconds, and then I'm going to end that stream. There we go. There, I spammed the link.